they've literally just pushed me out. I'm like the only one in my whole family that questions this whole thing, this whole COVID thing. Cause I've been
Mm-hmm.
like, I've been waking up the last couple of years. Like, I think it was the war on drugs that like woke me up from it. Cause I have firsthand experience there, it's like spending my whole adulthood lying to everybody, manipulating people to my ends. And it's like, so when you realize that you're being lied to, it's so much easier, number one, when you've spent your whole life lying about everything,
Mm-hmm.
to realize, hey, pretty much everything I've I've ever learned my entire life was complete and total bullshit. It's just like
Yeah,
that realization
Yeah,
is just like it just floods you, like it's
absolutely.
humbling. It's so
Mm-hmm.
humbling, and it's like that's kind of how I got better, was just humbling myself and like just taking off the cover, like really
Mm-hmm.
looking deep within. That's why the name of my show or my YouTube channel is Go Within to Get Out. Like, we have the power. You
Mm-hmm.
have the power, Ronnie has the power. We all have it. And that's how like we could change the world, is realizing that we ourselves are more powerful than anyone, really. We only give power to these people that are power. That's it. It's the only way that they can actually thrive, is with our consent. We give them all the power. We give them our power. David Icke was just saying that in the streets of the UK.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, the only
that shit was amazing.
dude, that shit.
I haven't watched that. I downloaded the speech, but I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
Oh
Incredible.
man, it fucking
Yeah.
fired me up. I actually,
Yeah.
my last
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, dude. My last show, I covered the protests in Berlin, because I wanted to talk about like feeling hopeful about this whole situation, because like
Mm-hmm.
there have been times when I've just gone dark. There you go, man. There you go, Ronnie.
I mean, I gotta go get me some shades.
Yeah, bro. The only reason I wear them is because Fauci said you got to wear goggles now. So, I mean, whatever Fauci says goes around here, bro. Whatever, he's got the mask. It's like you won't catch me with a mask anywhere out in public, but I'll do it on my show and fucking make fun of people, because it's just like, bro, if we can't laugh about this shit, man,
You definitely have to have a sense of humor.
fuck,
If
dude.
you don't have a sense of humor, then it's just really depressing.
It's like I love cannabis so much. I'm just so tired of the black market, and I'm tired of. I mean, granted, cannabis used to, 10 years ago it was $350 an ounce, and then it went down to 300, and then I started selling weed, and that's what I was getting it for,
Mm-hmm.
and then I got in a bunch of trouble in 2013 and 14 with the law and stuff, and got a felony for selling an ounce of weed. And then,
Oh my god, dude, a fucking
Damn.
ounce of weed.
yeah, it's
Yeah, I'm
hard.
sure. I don't know, but I bet Tennessee probably has pretty harsh laws, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Jesus. So
Regardless,
Ronnie, real quick, you're in Tennessee. I'm in Boston. Mason, where are you?
I'm in Indianapolis, Indiana.
All right, nice. We're covering it all here. That's what I like to hear.
Yep.
well, and that whole thing, it's kind of like at this point, like me and my wife, we ran out like I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago, but like about a month ago, I knew we were gonna run out, and I told her, I was like, I don't want to buy this shit anymore. I'm like, look, we live in the country. If we only grow 2 or 3 plants, if we would only need to grow 2 or 3 a year, or 2 times a year, and then that would last us the whole year. So I was like, why don't we just say the hell with it? Let's just do it. No one's gonna know, and we'll just crop out, and the only thing we smoke is what we grow. And then we know for a fact that we did it organically. We didn't use pesticides. We didn't use herbicides. Because, I mean, as great as cannabis is, at the end of the day, when you buy it from someone, you don't know how they grew it.
No.
Right. Yeah. That's I haven't. I used to be like a hardcore, the stoner stereotype. Basically, I smoked like crazy every day. I was hitting dabs. I was smoking
Nice.
multiple blunts a day. Like I was probably spending. I was smoking at least half ounce a week, if not more than that.
Oh
Sometimes.
shit,
So,
yeah.
like, no, I was absolutely like just crazy. Like anytime, if I ever if I'd meet someone, we hang out and smoke, they'd be like, "Holy shit, dude! Like, Like I'm good, chill. Like why you rolling up another one?
Yeah,
But
I have that problem too, man. My tolerance is ridiculous, like with every single drug there is, right? So
yeah,
my thing when I was a drug addict was pills. You couldn't
Oh,
put a pill in front of me that I didn't like, you know? So it was like
right.
just, I mean, I was taking like 10 Oxycontin 30s at once, just swallowing them. Boom.
Damn.
Like, you know, and it was just
Yeah,
like,
no, I
that's a
mean,
$300 habit daily, you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
And it's like I got off of the oxys and the heroin and shit, and then it was like
Uh-huh.
Suboxone for like a year, but
Yeah.
then I got off of that shit, and then it was like a few months went by when I was completely clean, and then I got shingles like on my forehead. I had like a golf ball sized welt on my
Oh,
forehead,
damn.
and it was like they gave me these like gabapentin, which is like these nerve. You know, I was still
Yeah,
a
I've
year and a half ago. I
had
still
GABA
wasn't fully
before.
awake on the fact that like, hey, these pharmaceuticals, these these type of solutions, just they're not good. You know,
Right.
so I ended up getting addicted to those after I'd already kicked oxys, heroin, you know, Suboxone, and then it's like, I'm hanging on, you know, then get addicted to gabapentin. One of my videos, like my podcast, the picture I'm holding, I put on there is like a giant bag of pills. There's like probably 600 pills in this bag, and it was
Wow.
like, it was there were gabapentins, and I just kept it like up on the screen while I like talked about, you know, how I used to take 60 of them at once, like
Jesus.
Wow.
what? Like a year and a half ago. You know, this was like
Wow.
when I was in a fucking really crazy dark place.
Yeah.
Like that's why I was like telling you guys kind of wanted to talk about addiction on this podcast, suicide, just like waking up to the truth, like how you guys kind of did it. We can talk about Mark a little bit, maybe share some funny shit going on. I mean, bro, I don't know if you've seen it, but I saw an article in Forbes magazine today that they're space helmets. They have space helmets now, and they're fucking sold out, bro. We have to you know what? I gotta pull this up while I'm on it here, because it's
That's crazy.
absolutely insanity. You guys said you like to laugh, so I gotta pull up this.
Honestly, that's actually one of the things that helped me like in my journey to waking up was comedy because I feel like a lot of the really good comics like George Carlin comes to mind, Bill Hicks, guys like that, they
Yeah.
kind of interject a lot of truths into their comedy and into their satire that they do. So and I was always a big fan of stand-up comedy, so I definitely contribute a lot of my waking up process and just being generally open-minded to different perspectives and ways of thinking to
Have you
stand-up comedy.
have you guys heard of JP Sears? Have you seen his videos?
Yeah, it's his. He's got like the Awaken with JP. Is that his YouTube
Yeah.
channel?
Oh,
You,
I've seen these. Yes.
are you guys
Seen
seeing
it.
this?
Yeah.
Holy shit!
I've
Look
seen
at
this. Yeah.
this fucking author, man. This article is just loaded with fucking filth propaganda, just conditioning bullshit. Look at this.
Wait,
Forget
aren't they called
N95 masks.
M? Aren't they
These
called M? Like mom M95 masks?
no, I think they're N95, but yeah, I mean, if
Oh,
you want to call them that,
I'm a fucking retard then. I thought they were M95.
no, it's they're N, but who cares, right? I mean, you can't keep
That
track of what all these masks are called. What the fuck, bro?
it's
Look at
like
this. These
it,
space helmets are the latest
it's
pandemic fashion accessory.
it's
Look at
hilarious.
this.
It's hilarious, but at the same time, it's sad because, like you said, they already sold out. So like there's some fucking people out there who are actually gonna buy that shit and wear it around in
A
public.
year
How do you
ago,
breathe?
a
How do
year
you
ago,
fucking breathe in that shit?
a year
How
Right?
do you
Yeah.
ago,
breathe in it?
Right. Yeah. Like.
a
There's
year
carbon
ago.
dioxide everywhere. Where's
Right.
the oxygen?
How is the glass not going to fog up too? Like you're not even going to be you won't even
Exactly.
be able to
Look
Yeah.
at
see.
look at this, hey, look at this. Toronto-based company VZYR Technologies launched its $250 they're gonna
Two
charge for
hundred
this
and
thing.
$50.
BioVisor last April after raising they raised $800,000 on Indiegogo for that.
Wow.
I can't even fucking raise like a little bit of money, you know, to maybe have a podcast, you know,
Right.
like
Yeah.
to maybe help change the world. But these assholes, $800,000 for that? Are you kidding me? What? Dude. And they're sold out. Like, are you kidding me?
That's wild.
Absolutely insanity, dude. And then look at this. Just look at this. Can you see that all right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
that's
look at this shit. The side view. Where is it? Yeah, look at this. Oh my
trying
god.
trying to make it look all fashionable. They got guys wearing suits, have them on.
And look at the flying saucer behind in the
Oh
building.
shit! I didn't even
I
notice that. What the
I
fuck?
I did see that.
They're trying to
Oh,
act like it's some cool futuristic shit.
bro, this is fucking absolute madness. And then look,
Just-
it actually gets crazier, all right? So look at this. What the fuck is this?
They got different colors. So how
Yeah.
does it? Is it like there's like straps that go into the arms or something so it's
Yeah,
keeps it
that
like
that this
stable on
one
your
this
head?
one, dude. Look at this. Fucking
it
buckles and
blows
everything.
my mind
It's
that
like it's like that's like we're like halfway to wearing hijabs here, like they do in the Middle East. Like they make the Muslim
Dude,
women wear.
that's 10 times
Like,
worse.
like
I was
That's
I
10
was
times
joking.
worse.
I joke with my wife. I'm not. I like shock humor. Like that's my favorite kind of humor. Like just you go too far. Although
is-
I don't like shock humor when it comes to kids. I don't think pedophile humor is funny, honestly.
No.
But
oh no, yeah,
but like
there's
degrading.
definitely
But like
Like South
racist.
Park, like that South Park shit. Like
Yeah.
I
Well, like
remember Mark was showing that. Like I was like,
Yeah.
but like racist or degrading towards women humor I think is funny because I just think it's too far, but that's why it's funny is because it's not funny, right?
right, yeah.
I tell my wife all the time, like I'm like, honey, I'm gonna make you wear a hijab. Only you know what I want? In this house, you're only gonna be allowed to have one eye hole. Fuck you.
dude, it's just. I mean, dude, look at this, right? And it gets better.
That's like a goldfish.
Created by Berlin-based artist Marco Canavacci, who goes by Dr. Trouble, and Yina Young, who goes by Miss Bubble. So you have Dr.
Dr.
Trouble
Trouble
and Miss
and Miss
Bubble.
Bubble.
Look at these freaks. I mean, what in look at this shit.
Jesus Christ, dude. I almost wonder, it's like, did George Soros pay for that too?
I was literally just about to say something like that. Like I can't imagine that people
these-
actually are doing this shit without having some kind of like financial backing to get them to do it. You know what I mean?
Look at these
I
freaks.
just can't believe that there's people that are this
Well,
stupid.
so
Quite frankly, like
yesterday-
what the hell?
Yesterday with one of my asleep friends, I had I think I woke him up just like a tiny bit, and I'll tell you what he said after what I said. So I sent him a text message. He sent me this Grateful Dead song, a live thing, and so I texted him back, and I said, "Man, I really needed that. Thank you. You know, I fucking this music is so uplifting and it's beautiful, and
I love the Dead.
I'm kind of a funk. This whole COVID thing." I was like, "What you need to understand, man, is." Not my intention is not to offend you. My intention is to wake you up to the simple principle of freedom. So let me give you an example to help you understand where I'm coming from. Let's say there's a zombie apocalypse, and the only way to be safe from the zombie apocalypse is you have to go into a safe city. But in order to be in the safe city, you have to give up some of your liberties. In this case, because of COVID, let's say you have to wear a mask because they know for a fact that someone might have the virus and not know, and they know it spreads through saliva. So everyone needs to wear a mask. I would choose every day of the week to live outside in the zombie apocalypse with my freedom. Because the principle is the freedom to choose, the freedom at all, but the freedom to choose. When you take away freedom of choice, you are no longer free. So I will choose dangerous freedom, as Mark has said several times,
Mhm.
in day over safety. And
Absolutely.
sad to see in what's going on right now. But I tell you what was beautiful today, I go everywhere I want without a mask. I go in grocery stores, Walmart. I just say, oh, that doesn't apply to me. Have a nice day. And I just walk right in and no one said a goddamn word to me. So today I went to a gas station after work and I go in, well, I pull in and there's fucking 7 fucking cop cars. And based on how many cops were in there, I was able to figure out every single one of those cop cars has 2 cops riding in the car, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I go in there, all the cops have masks on. All the customers have masks on. The clerk, he doesn't, but he has like this screen behind him, so it doesn't really matter. They didn't say anything to me. Again, like I said, like I go anywhere I want and no one says anything to me. And
Yeah, I
that's,
mean,
I almost wish they would have, honestly, so I could have tried to wake them up because I would have
right.
asked, I've been like, is Metro Police forcing y'all to wear those? You know, and if they'd obviously say yes, and I'd be like, damn, that sucks, man. It's like, you guys should stand up for freedom.
Well, if we know anything from Mark's work, then we know that order followers are always gonna do what they're told, regardless of how ridiculous it is.
Well, yeah.
Actually, one of my friends.
It's the law, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't say anything to me.
Right. I mean, yeah, I found too that, if you're just, if you're just courageous and don't put up with the bullshit and you just, like you said, just say, oh, that doesn't apply to me. Or a lot of people won't even engage with you and won't even, come up and try to tell you that, oh, you need to put a mask on if you just don't.
Yeah, but they're like,
but you can tell. I mean, you get the looks from people still. They'll look at you like, oh, this asshole's not wearing his mask.
You could feel it. You could feel it when you walk through the door. You could feel,
because people they've just been so. I mean, it's honestly amazing like how much people will just do what they're told by like mainstream media and stuff because they. I mean, really. I mean, some people, but at the same time, I feel like there's a lot of people who. Don't necessarily like they kind of have a funny feeling about it. Like they don't agree with it necessarily. They don't think it's right, but they're just too afraid to stand out from the crowd, basically. But because there's been some people who I've talked to who like when I have a conversation with them about it and explain why I don't wear the mask and all that kind of stuff. They pretty much a lot of people agree with what I'm saying, but so it seems like there's this kind of one of the big issues is that people are just too afraid to be the odd man out, basically.
Yeah, they don't want to actually take on that criticism. I mean,
mm-hmm.
I went to like get a new phone today because like I was like on my brother's plan and I got kicked off as of today. So I was like, oh, I had Sprint before, and I was like, I really want to just go to an old school phone, like a flip phone that just can make calls and text messages. I don't want anything with the internet. I don't want a GPS in there. I just want a phone. Of course, you can't find that anywhere.
Right.
Apparently, one of my roommates was telling me I could get like a $30 like flip phone,
like a prepaid,
and then just get a prepaid from like AT&T prepaid card. $30 a month saves me like $50 to $70 a month. Everything I can do on the laptop. It's like
Cricket, by the way.
Cricket.
So when I was heavy into my heroin and crack use in 2013 and 14, I switched from AT&T to Cricket, and it's crazy. I switched to Cricket on Monday, and on Friday, AT&T bought Cricket.
Wow, really?
I know. Sprint owns Boost Mobile, and then it's so ridiculous.
All the pricing of Cricket stayed the same and has been since. Only your service isn't shitty anymore. Your service is just as good as AT&T phones because they own it. So you're using all AT&T towers now when you have. So I've been on Cricket ever since, and I had a Cricket. You can still get the cheap Cricket phone for like $20 or $30 for $30 to $50 a month for unlimited talk and text. That's just an idea. I always throw that out to people just because I know that.
Okay.
I mean, granted, I have an iPhone now and stuff, and because I wanted it, and I'm obviously addicted to the motherfucker like everybody else is. But
Yeah, and
You know, my
I don't
wife and
know.
I have unlimited talk and text, and we have a decent amount of data for $70 a month. We used to have unlimited data for $110 a month, which is still really cheap for two phones, you know?
Yeah,
So
I'm
I
paying
always
like
recommend
80 for
Cricket to
mine.
people.
So it
Yeah,
was just like, but the whole process of just going out, man, it's like it I mean, I'm not afraid to stand up for myself. I put a video up. I got kicked out of Staples a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And he basically, I was like, I bought a microphone like a week before, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go trade it in. I'm gonna get a Yeti, a nicer microphone. So I go in there. I'm like, hey, I'm like, do you guys have any more Yetis? I knew they did because I called before. And the guy was like, yeah, but do you have a mask? And I was like, no. And he's like, it's okay. He's like, I'll get you one. I'm like, no, I'm good, thank you. I'm like, my immune system's working just fine. I'm like, I have a medical condition. I just said that, because it's usually,
Yeah.
it's like, if anything's going to get you out of it, maybe that will. And it's like, he's like, that doesn't matter. I'm like, it doesn't matter. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, I'll just call the cops. I'm like,
hey,
what?
hey, let me tell you something. The next time, if you do that, and the next time someone opens their mouth, you need to recite this immediately. Say, understand that if you ask me about my medical condition, that is a violation of HIPAA laws, and that
Yep.
is $70,000 fine, and I don't even have to prove that I have a medical condition. So are you willing to lose your job and get fined $70,000 that you don't have? Trust me, you will lose.
Yep. No, yeah, that's
Will lose
yep.
automatically. So
I will remember that because,
your choice.
Yeah.
You're gonna take $70,000 fine for your little job at Staples, or are you gonna shut the fuck up? What do you
yeah, or you're going to let me get my microphone that I came here to get,
exactly?
you
It's like
know?
I'm telling you, man, I don't fucking play at all. I go so hard about this shit, man. It's like I have a sticker that hopefully will be here in the
I
next
don't
day
blame you, man. This is
that
fucking
has
I
ridiculous.
mean, yeah, I
I'm
mean you have
putting
to be with the way shit is.
I'm
People are
putting a
belligerent
sticker on
towards
my
us.
truck.
It's like, we
Right.
have to stand up for ourselves. We're already in defense mode because it's like it's not the normal thing that people are doing. But what the fuck is normal? If you want to be considered normal because you go along with this shit, Mr. Space Helmet, like, you know, like you go along with this, like, and that makes you normal. Are you fucking kidding me? No, it
Right.
doesn't. Just because I look goofy, yeah, I'm wearing goggles and I have a sombrero on. I look pretty fucking stupid. But you know what? There's a reason for it. It's because Fauci told me to wear these fucking things. And the sombrero, I love motherfuckers. So, it's like
Hey, well,
I like to have fun, dude. You wear a sombrero out, people talk to you, they like come up, they're like, nice hat, man. Even people with masks. And I'll
Yeah.
take it. I'll take it. They're like, nice hat, man. Nice hat, man. What'd you say?
well,
What'd you say? You
I'm
know?
just curious. So when it comes to drug abuse, I mean, I'll go first if y'all want me to, but I was gonna ask, do either one of you guys want to kind of kick it off and like where that started and how y'all fell into that and stuff?
Yeah, I'll kind of give you guys a brief synopsis of my story.
Will you unshare your screen?
Oh yeah, yeah. Good call. There we
Cool.
go. Better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, enough of the laughing at the masks. Maybe I'll take the goggles off too.
See that? Mother, should I trust the government?
Hey,
Pink Floyd, baby.
teacher,
I love
leave
Pink
those
Floyd.
kids alone. You know? Yeah, good to see you. Actually, I can see now. Holy shit, it's tough working at most things. But yeah, I was a pretty normal kid. Grew up in a pretty normal household. I got two older brothers.
How old are you?
35
Andrew?
now. 35.
35.
Call me Andy. Call me Annie. Do you like Ronnie or I like Freeway Ronnie Ross?
You can call me Ronald Ray Ross II. You can call me Ronnie Ross. You can call me Ron Ross. You can call me Ron. You can call me cocksucker, faggot. I don't give a
It's
fuck.
not that kind of show, man.
You can't offend me.
It's not that kind of show, man.
like, hey, cocksucker, shut the fuck up.
I
And
actually
like,
had
"All right."
I actually had one of my 31 subscribers comment on one of my videos and was like, she's like, I was gonna share your video, but I just couldn't stomach the language. And I was like, I like wrote back to her and I was like, I'm like, thank you for the feedback, but I'm like, they're just words, they're just letters,
Right.
organized in a certain way that, I'm like,
Yeah.
if you got offended, that's kind of more on you.
Right.
Like Mark says a lot, it's like, it's just a word. I'm not doing it or saying it to like hurt anybody. It's just,
And it's not like because you said fuck that everything else you said is wrong or
yeah,
like it
Right.
doesn't matter anymore. Like that's yeah,
exactly. And it's like,
it's like a logical fallacy.
yeah, absolutely. My friends give me a hard time a lot because I get really fucking passionate and I get elevated,
Yeah.
and
Me
they're like,
too.
nobody listens to you when you're that, you're yelling. And I get it because it's like, it's for people in my circle, it's like, it's new, it's like,
Hmm.
that's not who you really were before. So like, we're kind of having a hard time adjusting. It's like, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not going to lie. This transition's been difficult. It's like, I mean, I've known
Yeah.
9/11's been bullshit for a while, but I like gotten to the point where it's like now I know, I mean, that just about everything complete bullshit,
Yeah. It's a
you know?
destructive process, that's for sure. Like when you start waking up to and learning about what's really going on in the world, it completely shatters and destroys your previous worldview. And
Yeah, it's
it can be it's not always easy to deal with. Like I mean, we were talking about anger earlier. Like that was a thing with me when I was first waking up to this. Like I was just pissed off. I was just mad because I'm like, wow, I've literally pretty much been lied to about just about everything in my entire life for like 20 years. It's just been lies, lies, lies. And most of the people don't even realize that it's lies. They're just spreading the lies and don't even realize that what they're spreading is lies. So
no idea,
and
absolutely no idea. It's
and
like,
that I'm able to kind of pull myself in and be a little more articulate nowadays. But at first, I would get super passionate and angry and just emotional trying to explain it to people, and then they'd be like, "Oh, you sound crazy, or you don't know what you're talking about, or you need to calm down." And
I
uh,
get that a lot. I get
yeah,
that a lot right now. It's like,
yeah,
fuck, man.
it's because you definitely you get especially when you're talking to people you care about, like family and close friends and stuff.
Just
Like you
want to
just
shake them.
like you just want them to get it and understand, but some people
Yeah.
they can
I
just be
tell
so
you
hard headed.
what I use all the time too on that art. I try and break it down as simple as I can. I go, look,
Hmm.
your mother, your father, your school teacher, your government, doctor have all told you that 2 + 2 = 5. I'm coming to you and showing you the equation that 2 + 2 = 4, and you are refusing to see that truth. And you've got to see that truth because the truth is, was, and always will be. It's not Republican, it's not Democrat, it's not black, it's not white. The truth is, and that's it. And the reason you're getting so mad is because you've been lied to your entire life, and I am shattering your idea of reality.
Hmm.
Yeah,
The truth, and the truth,
100%.
and
deception, and lies. And
and
until you can accept that, and until you can accept the simple principle of freedom above all else, doesn't matter how dangerous freedom is, until you can accept that, we cannot even move forward with our conversation. We
mhm.
can't go anywhere. And
That's it.
I'll
and
in
yeah,
conversations. I'm
and
just like, until you accept that, don't talk to me. I don't want to
yeah,
have anything to do with it. I mean,
yeah,
Mark has like Mark's vocabulary. That's what he's like, you need to gather the vocabulary. I'm like, yes, exactly.
hmm,
You're right. And that's, you know, Andy, that's probably where maybe you're at right now, is it's like, you're right, but you're having a hard time having the proper vocabulary to
Yeah.
explain to
hmm,
people.
And
yeah. That
the filter, because there's been so much information that's come in, and it's like people
Right.
expect you to be able to button it up and explain it in 2 or 3 minutes, where it's like, hey, that's why I love podcasts, to be
right.
honest, where it's like, I love my friends and my family, but it's like they only care about talking about trivial things. And that's whatever, that's fine. That's them. That's their lives. But it upsets me that that's what I'm reduced to, because if I am around them, like my mother, like my family and I have really taken a hit throughout this whole COVID thing. And it's because I've put myself out there vocally, like just through social media and like when I interact with people, because I'm like, hey, like this is for all the marbles right here. Like this episode, this year, this particular crisis, this is it, man. This is I talk about in my show, like this is a crossroads, right? This is a crossroads of whether at the point where we decide whether we're going to be human beings or slaves.
Oh, it's
This
just
is it, man. This is
it's
it.
just like taking your shoes off at the airport and the body scanners. Masks ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Masks are here to stay forever.
And that's
Wake up.
and that's what I try to tell people, because people are like, oh, we're gonna go back to normal eventually. It's gonna go back to how it was before. And I'm like, I mean, I was like, did life ever go back to being the way it was before 9/11, after 9/11 happened, and they instilled all of the new draconian measures for air travel with the basically, feeling people up and, sending you through the fucking radiation scanners and shit, like, and that's actually, I found something that is a good parallel to make to a lot of people is when I bring that up, because especially with older people who are old enough to really, because I was only like 5 years old when 9/11 happened, so I was really young, but like my parents and people that are older, that's something I found kind of helps them realize the bullshit in all of this, and realize that it's basically just a power grab by government and the elites of the world. And
I actually started researching geoengineering like pretty intensely over the past, like, I would say year, but like I actually started buying on all these materials, like printing out shit. And before this whole COVID thing happened, I was basically going to like make my show or my YouTube channel or whatever, where like I'm going to the airport and I'm like taking video of the actual nozzles, the retrofit nozzles on the back of the airplanes that are right in line with the jet stream.
I'll tell you this.
Like,
I don't know how I could have, like, I would have just had to have had my phone or video camera out the window. But I've flown several times in my life. One time in 2017, might have been 28. I think it was 2017 though. I was flying, and I love the window seat when I fly. I mean, I particularly like flying, to be honest, but I want to be at the window. I just like looking outside and looking down at the ground. It's just cool to me. So I'm in the window seat and I'm looking out the window. I saw with my own two fucking eyes a C-130 flying the opposite way that we were, spraying.
oh yeah, 100%.
Literally saw it.
Yeah, you could see it up there.
Literally fucking saw it with my own eyes. Granted, I know that they're putting shit in the commercial planes and they're doing that too, but to see a military plane just below us fly and spraying shit out the back of it, I was like, oh wow, chemtrails are real. Like this whole been like pretty sure, but like not totally sure. I mean, it's kind of like, oh, people make good points. And then to see that shit, I was like, oh, it's real. It's
Did you know that in 1996, right, the same year that the Air Force came out and said that chemtrails was this giant internet conspiracy, the same year, right, the military published a document called Own the Weather by 2025, where they talk specifically in grave detail about their plans to manipulate and modify the weather using stratospheric aerosol injections. Ronnie, don't say chemtrails, okay? They just use it to marginalize us now. All right? They're just doing it to marginalize us, all right, buddy?
there used to be a really good website, and I don't know what happened to it.
geoengineeringwatch.org. It's still up. That's probably the best website you can get for.
Well, there was a website called, before I deleted my Facebook in 2017, so this was, pre to 2017. There used to be a website called chemtrails911.com, And this is what I did, is they had the fucking patent that the U.S. government owned for chemtrails. I posted a link to that to Facebook, and people still argued with me.
Yeah.
It was like,
there's like
dude,
there's like
it's 2
hundreds
plus
of
2 equals
patents.
4.
Nobody even. It's just like you can't argue. You don't get a U.S. patent unless you're going to actually use it.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't just give out patents, and they're not just giving out hundreds of patents for geoengineering and weather modification if they're not going to do it. Like anyone that knows anything about HARP,
Yep.
HARP is, what is it, 10 billion watts of energy that can be used to just heat up
and
the ionosphere.
HARP does free tours. You can tour the facility for free because they're trying to prove that they're not modifying weather.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, they're showing you the whole lot, huh?
They're like, check this machine out. We're not doing nothing. This is a bunch of mumbo jumbo. You dumb people never understand. You're just like, oh, all right.
But so my point on the geoengineering was that I actually had my mom, like, she was like getting ready to rally behind me because like my mom's like this really passionate person, but she's like most people, been brainwashed. She watches CNN and the mainstream, and she hates Donald Trump, so she has this sort of like Trump derangement syndrome thing going on where it's like
orange man bad. Ugh.
Yeah,
Orange man bad,
I mean, the guy's obviously a sick motherfucker, sadistic reality TV show star, but he's part of the fucking plan. He's part of the system. He's part of the agenda to destroy this country and cause chaos and, usher in Agenda 21 ultimately. But I had my mom, man. She was rallying behind me around chemtrails. I said it. There you go. Ronnie. Geoengineering, man. She was like ready to take to the streets with me. And then like a couple weeks later, she's like, I don't know. She gets stuck on that. Like most people, I think, getting stuck on, they just wouldn't be that evil. They just wouldn't be that evil. It's like
people just don't want to believe that there's people that are that evil that exist. Yeah.
It's like they automatically think that I'm trying to say that every single person in that organization or that goes into the military or whatever is a terrible person. Where it's like,
most people are like Stalin used to refer to the people of Russia. They're looked at as useful idiots by the people that are at the tops and in control.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't really know what's going on. They think, a lot of people think that like when they join the military and other things like that, they're being altruistic and they're doing something good, but they don't, because that's what you're raised, especially in America and certain areas of the country. Like, I know, like at least around people I grew up, the military was like this. There was like this glorious thing, and respect the troops. They fight. Yeah. They go and fight for our freedom. They protect our freedom, and
my mom's
all this nonsense.
My mom's about to retire from the Army National Guard. She went to Iraq from 2008 to 2009. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I know all about it, man.
We have a veterans national cemetery in my hometown, and I got to say, it's a beautiful cemetery. It really is. Mm-hmm. And my grandfather's buried there, and it's like right around the corner, and it's like a mile from where my grandmother lives. So it actually makes me feel good that he's buried close to her, at least, Mm-hmm. But it's just like the way people think about the military around here is the same thing. I mean, I was talking on my show the other day about how after 9/11, it was like I have stickers on the back of my door, proud to be an American, and I was like singing that song, like God bless him, at least I know I'm free. It's just like I was that person. I was like saying how I was buying into like the whole paranoia, like and like calling these people terrible things, like like towel heads and shit like that. Like that was coming out of my mouth years ago, not because I was like, I was just out of high school when I was like 16 when 9/11 happened. I was a sophomore in high school, and it was like, that's not who I am. But it's just like our culture. It's like they drilled into you, like Muslims bad, America good. They come on TV an hour after it happens and go, Bin Laden did it. Bin Laden did it. An hour after it happened, and we're just supposed to believe it. We did. It's like
that was something that was like really hard for me growing up because one of my aunts my dad's sister, she actually married a guy who's from Saudi Arabia. So I have cousins who are Muslim and who are, you know, half Saudi. And it was really weird, you know, kind of growing up, and because I had personal experience with people who were Muslim and they were my cousins, and you know they were good people. So it was weird, you know, seeing kind of growing up and then seeing on the news like all this shit about how, you know, how Muslims are evil and they're bad and they're terrorists, you know, all that shit. And then I was like, I didn't understand because I was pretty young, you know, when all that 9/11 and all that shit was happening. And I was like, why are they saying all these bad things about people? You know, I was like, oh, my cousins and uncle, and they're not like that at all. And
I tell you, man, you know, here's how I reason with Southerners, because here's the thing, man, is Southerners are like proud to be racist, and you know, and so here's
it's
proof
like a cultural thing almost.
that they're racist is in 2016, I was working on this job site, this commercial job site, and it had like 8 or 9 porta potties. That's a lot for a job site, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't matter which one you went in. Every single one of them had like somewhat like build a wall, deport them all, or like a line and an arrow to the urinal that said Mexican drinking fountain, you know, and shit like that. So when I would talk to these people, I'd try talking about 9/11, and I would tell them, I would just reason with them, and I'd be a little racist to reason with them. And this is what I'd say. I'd say, you really think a bunch of dune coons, sand niggers that don't have access to clean drinking water or running fucking plumbing could outsmart the United States military?
You just use it against them.
$200 million a year on military spending at the time of 9/11. You really think they could outsmart us? Get the fuck out of here. Fuck. And then they would say, oh man, well when you put it like that, fuck, that makes a lot of sense. I'd be like, exactly. Ain't no coon gonna outsmart the white man, are they? And they'd be like,
yeah.
Oh, no.
I mean, man, sometimes you just got to meet people. You got to meet people where they're at in order for them to even hear you at all. Unfortunately, that's how it is. But I mean, if that's what it takes to at least kind of get them to start opening their mind up a little bit, then
yeah, actually,
you know,
it's funny that you say that, because like last Halloween, or not Halloween, Thanksgiving Eve, I was down at like an American Legion, right, locally here, North Central Mass. So a lot of rednecks, a lot of Trump supporters, you know, gun-toting people, like, but you know, a lot of people who are also wearing masks and doing what they're told. You know, I mean, really. So I'm at in the smoking room. Thanksgiving.
Oxymoron that is.
Right.
Gun in a mask.
Right. I know it's.
Fuck.
What on earth, dude? 2020, man. So I'm in the smoking room talking to these people, and I'm talking about how, like, you know, just how terrible the United States government was, like Obama, and like how they called him, you know, President Drone Obama. He ran out of bombs, like, and Trump's dropping even 10 times as many bombs as Obama was. And it's like this one guy fucking said, bombs solve a lot of issues. And I was like, what? Like, or no, this woman actually said it. This like 55-year-old woman. And I was like, what? I'm like, how could you say that? They kill innocent women and children. They can't kill innocent people. How could you say bombs solve a lot of issues? You sound like fucking Madeleine Albright or whatever that fucking psychot. Is that her name? The one who said, who was asked that, you know, right. We lost 500,000 children, Iraqi children to this. And they said, do you think it's worth it? And she was like, yeah, we do. Like, I think it was Madeleine Albright. She was like the former Secretary of State. Like, I think that's the name. But anyways, I was like talking, and so this woman says bombs solve a lot of issues. And I was like, you know, how could you say that? I'm really upset. And then this other guy, probably in his 60s, walks out and he goes, just ask the Japs. And I'm like, whoa, what? I was like, what am I dealing with here? Like, I mean, you know, that's the kind of mentality we're up against.
I mean, it's
many cases.
I mean, it's pretty astonishing, like how like how ignorant some people really are, and the whole thing. I wanted
to kill that guy. I was I literally wanted to go fucking strangle him and be like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Like, how could you say that?"
Yeah, Like
That's
Ronnie
what
was
we're
saying,
up
it's just
against, man.
like the oxymoron of, you know, carrying a gun and wearing a mask. It's like you just see that so much in people who are, you know, in the whole left right pair, you know, like with conservative people, like, you know, they're all about freedom and, you know, we don't tread on my rights and stuff, but at the same time they're the biggest supporters of police and military.
Right.
Who are the people who are stomping on our rights more than anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just
I want to
it just blows my mind. I don't understand how people can't see that cognitive dissonance that they have.
I want to interject with something that my wife and I, you know, we're going to start a podcast, and I'm probably going to do my own podcast too, because Barbara, she wants it to be calm, you know, and I'm
A little more chill and
so
PC kind of.
we'll do that,
Not PC,
you know,
but you know,
but
just
like my shit is not gonna, you know, I I I absolutely refuse to limit speech. You know,
I
I don't
agree.
believe like I have black friends and there's also black people, but I don't believe in limiting saying nigger. Like obviously
I
don't
agree.
call a black person a nigger. That's not
Right.
okay.
Yeah, it's not the same
That's
thing. You're not saying that.
It's ridiculous. Don't fucking
that's
say that.
yeah.
You know?
That's
To
why I just
explain something and then people go the N word. It's like, no, just say negro or nigger, whatever you're trying to say. Just say,
it's
don't limit your fucking speech.
yeah, no, and that's why
Say the word.
The problem.
yeah,
Like,
no,
oh, my ears. Ow, 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 ow. It's like
it's
you're the same as some Christian fuck being like, don't say fuck, bitch, cunt, whore. It's like,
right.
oh, my ears. Oh,
I know it's so ridiculous. That's what something that really made me realize, you know, how dumb shit like that is like comedy again. Like George Carlin has a really good bit where he's
The
talking
seven
about like,
forbidden words, right?
yeah, there's that one, and then there's another one where he's like, you know, it doesn't matter, you know, the words in and of themselves aren't harmful. It's the context in which you use the word. So
exactly.
just if you say the word nigger, that's not offensive. But if you said if you call a black person a nigger, then yeah, that's not cool. That's not acceptable because it's a derogatory term for a black person. But
Exactly.
like if you're just talking or like quoting somebody, then that's a different context than going out and then Louis C.K. also has a really funny bit where he's like saying the N word is really like he's like I really hate when I'm watching the news and some pretty blonde girl on CNN or Fox says the N word. I don't mean nigger, by the way. I mean when they say the N word. Like he's like that's just white people who figured out a way how to say nigger. Because when you say the N word, I go, oh, she means nigger. It's like you're making me say it now, you asshole. Just
Yeah.
fucking say, just fucking say the word.
Exactly.
And like, what's the point of? Because I mean, when you say the N word, you know that people mean nigger. Like it's stupid. It's so stupid.
That's so true.
It is so
That's a really
fucking,
good point.
it's like, and me, in my sense, and granted, you know, it doesn't matter at all. I've just recently told a bunch of people I know because I was, you remember Blackout Tuesday, month or 2 months ago? People on Instagram, and Facebook
Yeah,
said Square.
yeah.
So
Oh yeah, I do vaguely remember that.
so what I did is I deleted my Facebook and Instagram in 2017. Then last year in maybe October, November, I made like I still have my Perlin guitars. That's like my professional page because I make guitars occasionally. And I made another page called Ronnie fucking Ross, and all I did was try to wake people up, natural law, and all this shit. And on Blackout Tuesday, like literally my entire feed was just black squares. So I, on my lunch break, as fast as I could, posted slave, 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 slave. And I actually made a point not to write slave on a couple of my black friends' posts, but this one guy I went to high school with, his name, I knew him at school and high school as Abdul. His real name is like Habaji or some shit. And I didn't realize that was him. And I wrote slave on his thing. Well, then he posted that to Facebook. And then I had like so many people calling me a fucking piece of shit and all this shit. And so I ended up, you know, I made that video, you know, I don't know if you guys watched it, that one video I had on my YouTube page, like going off about all that shit.
Yeah, I watched it.
the whole thing, was just, I ended up deleting my Instagram again, and fuck, I forgot the point I was trying to make with this, but
Well, you were talking about free speech and how you don't want it to be limited, and so I don't know if that's where you're going with that, like in terms of having to limit yourself, right? You don't
yeah,
like
well,
limited
that
speech,
and
but
right,
it's
yeah,
you're sort
because
of
everything,
self-censoring because people coming back on you, where you're like, then you're
yeah,
just
well,
like
they took that
not
out of
being
context
yourself.
because the context was I didn't single Abdul out as a black man to
No,
call him a slave because I'm trying
Right.
to
no, you did
get
it to
rid of this
everybody.
black man.
Did it
I
to
called
everybody.
him a slave along with 500 other people that
Yeah,
mostly are all white.
100%.
Because Tim, you literally posted a black square because Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter told you to.
Yeah,
Because
it's virtue signaling. It's like you're not actually doing anything good for Black people by posting a fucking black square on your social media. Like you haven't done anything to help anyone, but people think like, oh, I'm a good person because I'm being a part of this thing that everyone's doing.
yeah,
Right?
well,
Like no, you didn't actually do anything or contribute any of your time or energy to actually helping anyone.
so
Yeah, you just reposted something.
something I'm gonna do when I start the podcast, and I'm gonna do it at the beginning of every podcast because a lot of podcasts do ads, and
Mhm.
I'm never gonna do an ad, but I'm gonna do joke ads, and I may or may not say it's a joke, and we'll see how much trouble I get in for doing this. But like, here's an idea for an ad, like for right now. Grizzly Wintergreen, the only pouch that does not cause cancer. Pouches are cancer free.
That's nice. That's a nice promo, man.
Yeah, Grizzly.
Gonna have to hire you for the voiceover.
Camel cigarettes. Doctors smoke camels. That's the same media we have today.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like,
8 out of 10 experts said smoking was actually a good thing.
oh man, and
Yeah, these are these,
Experts.
and
on Google,
these are the same experts who are telling us that you got to wear a mask
Yeah,
yeah,
you
and
got to get that vaccine.
social distance and get a vaccine. Yeah.
Got to
I
get that
love what Mark
experimental
said about.
vaccine.
I love what Mark said about social distancing. Social distancing is like an oxymoron. It's like you can't be social and be distant. I
Right.
told my cousin that, and he was like, "That's stupid." I'm like, it's not. What are you retarded? That's stupid. It's not stupid. Oh, I remember my point. Okay, so it doesn't. So here was the thing about. So people calling me a racist and all this shit.
Yeah.
So I ended up telling a bunch of people this. Right. Number one, I have a black man, half black, half Native American, Jimi Hendrix's signature on my arm in
Hey,
a
I'm wearing a Jimi Hendrix shirt.
Oh, look at that.
So,
Simpatico.
number one. And number two, granted, I'm married. I love women. I want to be with a woman. I want to have family. We have a child, whatever. But like, I'm bisexual. I don't find men attractive. I don't like to kiss men. I think that's weird. But I don't know. For whatever reason, sucking and fucking cock can turn me on, and I can get off to that shit, right? So I ended up slamming a bunch of those people, and I ended up getting really irrational with them too. Is I went, I've actually sucked and fucked several black cocks. Let me ask you something. Have you ever sucked and fucked a black cock? Have you ever made love to a black man? Oh, you haven't? Well, obviously you're a racist then. You're obviously a racist. You haven't, so clearly you're racist, right? Because if you loved black people, you'd go out of your way to fuck them. But you don't. You're a racist. It's clear.
Yeah, the logic. Yeah.
It was great, And it's threw a lot of my friends off guard that
That's
know me,
hilarious.
didn't know that about me, because it's like living in the South. Why would I tell people? Because I know what the reaction is going to be. People aren't going to want to be your friend anymore. And it's like, I don't even want to go there with people. It doesn't matter. My personal sexual preferences and I'm a kinky motherfucker. Like granted, my wife is not into this shit, but I could watch another man fuck my wife and like that shit turns me on. Like I'm a fucking freak. Sexually. I know this is a lot. You guys don't know me,
Woo!
but I don't have any shame about who I am.
This is kind of what I'm getting at too, though.
I have no
like,
shame.
This is why we're here. This is kind of what I want to do with my show. It's like just let it fly,
Yeah.
we've all done We've all
if
done.
I actually did something that was immoral,
Yeah.
yeah, I would feel shame if I acted immorally.
That's what shame's for. Yeah.
Preference is not immoral.
Yeah, that's what shame. That's the true purpose of what shame's for. I mean, yeah, if you shouldn't feel bad about who you want to fuck, and that's I always found it
Stupid.
so weird, like how obsessed people are with other people's like sexuality and shit
Right.
like that. Like I never understood like why do you give a shit what somebody else who someone else is
It
fucking?
goes back to that
Well,
shit, like I said, the
well,
normality of it all, right?
like
This
if you
fucking
don't if you right, it's like if you don't want to fuck a guy, or if you're a girl and you don't want to fuck a girl, then so what? Like, why does it matter if this person wants to? Like, what does that have to do with you? You're not involved in that. Like,
yeah, it
eh,
has nothing, literally nothing to do with you.
yeah,
Like if you were actually honest, if you meaning whoever's judging you for saying that, if you were actually honest about what you were thinking about, like this man right here just
yeah,
was, like if you who's listening to this were honest, because you're judging him going, oh, what, that's fucking
yeah,
intense. It's like
yeah.
if you told me what was in your head, then it might not sound very normal either, motherfuckers.
I
Yeah.
mean,
So,
yeah, I
but
mean,
he's being honest.
yeah,
That's how we
and
actually
I
move.
mean,
We don't get anywhere by lying to each other.
I
Just
mean,
fucking
I think there's a lot of people who have like repressed desires or curiosities to maybe if you're a guy to be with a guy or girl to be with a girl, but like it's kind of, especially in America, it's still like there's really deep Christian roots, a lot of Christian people, and that's like really looked down on if you're growing up in a Christian family around Christians. So I think it's kind of like Victorian, like, or the view of sex that a lot of people have still, and
right. Yeah, it's not progressive at all.
and it's not like, and it's, so I think that a lot of people have, and that causes a lot of people to get uncomfortable too, like when someone, like when you're just straight up honest about shit like that to people, because they're like, it's like they kind of feel bad because they maybe they're curious about that shit too, but they're too afraid to actually explore and try something new because they have this I grew up Catholic and they call it Catholic guilt.
I grew up Catholic too. Yeah.
Catholic guilt.
So it's yeah, but I mean, I agree, there's no reason to be shameful about what you like and who you are. The only reason you should ever be shameful is, like you said, if you're doing something immoral, if you're causing harm to someone.
Yeah. It's like I don't want to fuck kids.
Right, exactly.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, like and, and the fucking normalization of that shit now, like the YouTube and like a bunch of Twitter and a bunch of Instagram too, like all the social media sites that like updated their policies recently, and basically they made it so that you can basically, if you're a pedophile, you can just come on there and be like, oh yeah, I'm a pedophile, I like to fuck children, and they're it's totally okay.
Twitter just made that okay.
Not going to be banned,
yeah.
but you'll get banned if you like tell this person, like if people like attack these pedophiles and say, oh, you're fucked up, you like to fuck children, that's not a sexual preference, that's a fucking like mental disorder, you're fucked in the head, that's not okay. Then those people,
I'm not laughing at you.
Those people actually end up getting banned, and from fucking the social media sites. The people who are against pedophilia, but if you're a pedophile and you just come straight up out and are just like, oh yeah, I like to fuck children, that's my sexual preference. That's not a fucking sexual preference. That's fucking sick. That's fucking
yeah, man. And it's like I'm gonna make, I'm working on content right now, and my thing is I can be lazy, right? So what I want is 4 or 5 videos to start to post like once every 2 weeks or something, so that like I have something. That way I'm basically like competing against my laziness. So I already have shit that is ready to go before, that way I'm not lazy and I go a month without producing something, and I can keep interested in. So
right.
I'm in the process of creating content right now, but one of the things that I'm going to touch on is Black Lives. It's like, I need everyone on the fucking internet, social media, I need you to be clear about something. Do you support the organization Black Lives Matter, or do you support the phrase Black Lives Matter? Because I, all day long, support the phrase Black Lives Matter. But the organization, I absolutely do not support one bit. Because on the front fucking page, if you type in blacklivesmatter.com and you scroll down, they talk about wanting to destroy the nuclear family. Well, let's go to Google real quick. You go to Google.
Yeah, they're a communist organization.
A mother and a father raising their children in the house. You want to I have a wife and I have a child. That means that organization wants to destroy what I have built. That organization.
Yeah, well, that's
and you care so much about George Floyd. You care so much about black men being shot by the cops. Why is it all the leaders of Black Lives Matter are black women? Why aren't any black men in positions of leadership? Huh?
Good question.
Yeah,
That's because it's fucking bullshit. You're fucks.
Yeah.
You.
No, Black Lives Matter, the organization. I mean, it's a communist organization. I mean, the symbol, the fist, that's literally the Soviet, like literally, it's exactly the same. If you put the Soviet red fist next to the Black Lives Matter fist, it's literally the exact same, like drawn the exact same way. It's just black instead of red. And there's also public interviews of the co-founders of Black Lives Matter, just outright admitting and saying that they're trained Marxists, exactly. Yep. And that's one of the tactics of communists, is breaking up the nuclear family. That's one of their main goals, is to break up the nuclear families, because typically what happens is when like women are on their own, single moms, they end up relying on the state then for
Gabor Mate wrote a book called In the Realm of Hungry Ghosts.
Yeah.
Okay? He did a 25-year study in Canada with drug addicts. Yep. What is all drug addicts, 100% of them have in common?
I love him, man. He's a great doctor.
As children.
Yeah.
What did he prove? He proved that a child, to develop properly, needs a mother and a father in the household that loves them. Now, what is child abuse? It can be one of two things. Either something happened that should not have happened, like in my case, I watched my dad beat the shit out of my mom, or something that should have happened did not happen, which would be neglect.
Right.
Proved that. It's like science. Yeah. Science. It's like, well, here's your science.
Right.
Black Lives Matter wants to destroy that. And what we know in the black community has been destroying them for years is the welfare state promoting men not being in the house.
Yeah.
Two-parent family household, guess what? You can't get welfare.
Right.
Two parents in the home.
Yeah.
That's incentive.
Yeah.
One parent in the home.
The single motherhood rate in the black community is like upwards of like 70%. It's crazy.
Wow.
It's even it's upward. I think it's up to like 30 or 40% even amongst whites too. Like, it's single motherhood has been on the rise steadily for amongst all, racial groups for the past like 50, 60 years.
And you don't need science. You don't need science to say that that's a fucking problem. I was raised in a home that was fairly loving, and, there wasn't that much neglect, honestly. I had everything I ever needed, a roof over my head. I had food. My parents didn't abuse, they loved each other. It's not the kind of love that I think about, in terms of like what I think of when I think of love, because I think it's much deeper than what my parents might have, but it's like, I was a really fucked up person and in a lot of pain because of, the fact that like I was abused as a child by another child who was just a few years older than me. It wasn't like it was like a 30-year-old man, but it was my pain. It was my trauma, but it's like, that's with two parents. Somebody completely fucked up. That had love and like in relative like normalcy. Like when you think about normalcy in any kind of sense, but it's like I had everything I ever needed, but it's just I wish now they would just support me a little more emotionally because of like all of this. It's just they're on a team again, and now it's like me on a team, and I obviously don't like to look at it that way. It's like you're my family.
The team is the human team.
Right.
Yeah.
They're
People need to realize that, you know, it's like, Mason, when you say that, you know, that shit community, that is proof, you know, the crack epidemic that hit the black community in the 90s is hitting the white community right now.
Yeah, with the opiate crisis.
People need to realize it's poor against rich.
Yep.
If you're a millionaire, you're poor. It's like the poor is all of us. The rich are literally like 250 people in the world.
Yeah, it's like the Bill Gates of the world, you know, the billionaire, the Jeff Bezos is the multi-billionaire.
Yeah,
it's like
that is such a small percentage of people. And the thing, you know, it's interesting when, you know, and this is something else, you know, another point I'm going to make in these videos coming up is my liberal friend, like I'm a hippie. I'm proud to say I'm a hippie. I love Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix. I love the Grateful Dead. I love Fish, Widespread Panic, String Cheese Incident. I've gone to so many music festivals. I've eaten so much LSD, mushrooms, tea. I'm all about all that shit in the community and all that shit. And those don't even realize that a music festival is an example of true anarchy, and they don't even realize it.
Right. I'm
so sad that they don't realize that.
I love music festivals, and
right.
I'm the same way. I'm the Grateful Dead. They're my favorite band of all time.
But then you look at these people, and number one, like with the whole
tapestry. Right
there. Fuck yeah.
And I got a poster over in the corner there too.
Hell yeah. Well, and you look at, it's like, yes, the hippies. And granted, I just wrote a song I'm about to release here soon too. Yes, the hippies. Who are you voting for? Oh, whoever Bob Weir tells me to vote for. Voting for whoever Trey Anastasio told me to vote for. You're a Fish, just in case you don't know Andy.
Yeah, I know Trey. Yeah, both of my brothers are fish heads. So.
Oh fuck yeah! I love.
I haven't gotten super
masks,
into them,
man.
but the
Fish. They posted Mike Gordon and Trey with masks on. I will never
really?
answer it again. I will not give.
Don't tell me Maynard is doing it too.
I will not
Tool,
give.
They're my favorite band.
Yeah, and fucking Tool, the goddamn. Oh my God, their lyrics, and then you go to a concert for Tool, and Maynard's being escorted by police. You're just like. Let me get to this bigger point here, other than the voting shit, because the voting is obviously bullshit. Dave Matthews, all of them, head count. They're all about head count. Register to vote, you know, all that bullshit. Here's my thing is, Max Gerson accidentally discovered the cure for not only cancer, but all degenerative disease. Literally all of it. All degenerative disease is curable. Now, when I have brought this information to my hippie friends, what do they scream in my face? Science! Science, bro! You don't know what you're talking. You're not a doctor. Science! Science! And you're like, oh, but wait, but what about CO2, carbon emissions? You care, save the planet. You're all about that, right? You love Mother Nature. They're like, yeah, I am. I'm like, okay, well, Max Gerson discovered that Mother Nature provides all the plants you would ever need to cure all disease. No, science! Science! And so I'm like, oh, well, it's obvious you're anti-nature. I'm glad we came to that conclusion. You're anti-nature. At least I know where you stand. You're anti-nature.
Yeah.
And that, when you present that to the hippies, like in that form, I found it to be a pretty good wake-up call. They go, wait, I'm not anti-nature. Well, you just said science.
I know what they'll say that while they're smoking a joint or something. Like what this plant that we're all fucking smoking and we love is from fucking nature, and this is in of itself is a fucking miracle plant.
Yeah, man, and it's fucking. I tell you, man. So I'm gonna start out saying my friend, but in these upcoming videos, I'm going to say I'm calling you out by name in upcoming videos, just so you know. You might hate me. I don't care. It's because I love you at a soul level, but I'm calling you out by name, motherfucker. I'm gonna call you out by name. And just like Mark, and I'll probably be screaming in these videos, just like Mark, I will burn this motherfucker to the
Hey,
ground.
dude,
I don't
I
give a
love that.
fuck.
I love that energy, dude. Like
Yeah.
that shit rubs off on me. That like inspires me and gets me going and
None.
wanting to work. You know?
Yeah, dude, he's intense, man. Wow, Mark Passio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. But
He definitely makes me want to get out of bed.
Actually, that bringing up Mark again, that reminds me of a point I was wanting to make when we were talking about the like abandonment issues and trauma from childhood. That's a point that like Andy, you were mentioning about how you had like a pretty loving family, and I had pretty much the same thing. I had both parents in my house. They got along pretty well. Never anything too crazy happened, but and Mark brings this up in I think it's his cosmic abandonment presentations, where you can have abandonment issues and trauma from childhood even if your parents are physically present. That doesn't mean you don't have abandonment issues, because they could have neglected you emotionally. They could have neglected you spiritually. There's other just because they were there and they provided for you materially doesn't necessarily mean that they provided you with everything that a parent should provide for you, because there's a lot more to it than there's a lot more to raising a kid than just feeding them.
Right, I know.
Like,
I definitely understand that, because it's like, they've bailed me out financially many times, but it's like I just don't have the close relationship, I guess, with them, where it's like I don't really know all that much about my parents. I mean, I know a lot, but it's like I want to know more, and it's like I can never really get that much more, and it's like it's really difficult now because of like where I've like taken a stance on all this, and it's like when we start talking, it's even though we try to keep it to like just we can't talk about anything current without me like, because I'm just like, hey, well, that's not necessarily true. And they're like, well, we're not doing this now. And I'm like, well, when are we going to do it? Because you say that every single time, and it's not just my parents. It's all these people around me. It's most people in general. We're not doing this now. It's like, oh, so we could just mindlessly scroll through TikTok for 11 hours, and we could talk about that, but I can't talk, and we can't talk about real things that are affecting your life, my life, our kids' life, their children's life.
Man,
people are just comfortable in the slavery, basically.
I think we have a moral obligation.
Absolutely.
To not only
100%.
educate ourselves, but to try and make this place a little better.
Well,
everybody around me goes, well, that's just the way it is. You have to accept it. No, I don't.
No,
I don't have to accept that.
That's such bullshit. I hate that. I hate
And
when people say that
like,
shit.
I don't have to accept it.
I will not. I mean, I guess this is an ad hominem attack, but I'll say the shit that Mark says, man. And I don't know about you guys, but my whole life, like when I went to private Catholic school up until sophomore year, so kindergarten through 9th grade, I was severely made fun of. And then I just decided, fuck this shit. I'm going to make fun of everybody, and then I'm going to take it so extreme, and that's how I've been ever since. So learning from Mark has like helped my vocabulary, but I've called my parents out on the shit, and I've been like, I'm like, oh, well, you think like that because you're 5 years old. Like, yeah, you're 60 years old, but in your mind, you're a 5-year-old, and that's the truth. Whether you want to accept it or not, what I have said will remain true eternally. And it's interesting how I've been able to get my parents, which are so asleep, to listen to me by attacking them personally, but not attacking them screaming and saying you're a fucking retard, but like
right.
But just saying things like, well, your consciousness is clear of a 5-year-old, because only a 5-year-old would think that way, you know?
It's tough love. It's not like you're not.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not
You know,
personal.
you're not being an asshole just, you know, because you don't like them or something. You're being harsh because you care about them. And I mean, the truth is harsh. That just happens to be that's how it is.
And you
It's
have to
belligerent,
reiterate
man.
that.
It's
You have to
belligerent.
reiterate that
exactly,
the reason I'm
belligerent.
telling you this is, number one, because the truth is combative, and two, because I love you on a soul level. I love you so much that I am willing to tell you the cold, hard truth, and I'm going to drag you kicking and screaming through the mud to the truth, whether you want to or not, because that's how much I love you.
Yeah, and people really struggle with understanding that, because people have that cognitive dissonance where they think that, you know, oh, like, how can you say you're being loving when you're being so harsh to me? And it's like, well, because I'm giving you the truth, and nothing is more important and shows that I care more about you than being honest with you and telling you what's really going on.
Yeah, I'm actually giving you my time. I'm actually giving you my time to try and explain these things to you, which is important.
You know, being all nice and, you know, calm and just, you know, telling you a bunch of bullshit, you know, that's not, especially when you know that it's bullshit. Like, that's not somebody who loves you. If they're, you know, feeding you bullshit in a nice, happy, calm tone. Like, no, that's not, they don't actually love you. That's not what real love is. That's not, what's it? Agape. That's not love. You know, agape is the higher form of love where you love truth more than anything. Nothing is more important than truth.
Yeah. You're loyal to truth and truth alone.
Exactly.
And loyal to humanity, you're loyal to truth. But what's interesting about being loyal to truth is that coincides with being loyal to humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Mark doesn't say it like that, but I think that's a better representation of what Mark is trying to say. He's, you know, Mark, I'm not loyal to you. I'm not loyal to humanity. I'm loyal to the truth. Well, being loyal to the truth coincides with
Yeah, by extension, you're loyal to humanity if you're loyal to the truth, because the truth wants humanity to be free. That's what the truth is. The universe, God, whatever you want to call it, that's why natural law exists, is because if we live in accordance to natural law, then we'll be free and we'll be happy. Like it's that simple.
And it's so easy to see too.
That's another thing that, you know, can be frustrating, is once you really kind of get a grasp on natural law and understanding objective morality, it's honestly, it seems kind of like this is like kindergarten level shit. Like, it's so easy. It's actually so easy. And it's like, how do people not get it? Like, it's actually just so fucking simple. It's like, you just have to laugh sometimes. It's honestly like, how the fuck can people not understand this? I'm so easy.
I'm so glad that Corey made the page and invited us all, and we're all in this. And I met you guys, because I can't tell you, since 2009, since I've woke up, granted, I have my friend Martin in Montana who's awake like we are. I have my friend Sean, who's, you know, in his 50s now, and he's the one who woke me up in 2009. And then my wife, and literally no one else.
Mm-hmm.
I have three other people other than myself, and two of those people don't even live in my state. So I can't tell you how great this has been, because
it feels good, man. I feel better.
I just feel like giving up, and I feel so alone in this fight, you know? It's just, fuck.
No, it's definitely like a breath of fresh air. Like, it really excited me and made me happy when we had that meeting. Like, because I've got a pretty close friend who he's really awake to a lot of stuff, and I've got a couple of other friends who don't live where I do. So,
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
That's the second one, dude. I'm actually when you were talking about
I farted like 4 or 5 times, and
I know,
my screen is lit up, and I'm like, I wonder if they heard that or not.
I can see your face too.
That was the first one I heard.
You're like,
hey, I'm the fart king. I've been the fart king since 4th grade.
It's all good, man. But
No
it was
one
like
can outsmart me.
when Mason was talking
farts
about,
never fail to get a laugh. Farts are always
Uh,
great humor.
but like you went to the bathroom and Mason was talking about like child sex trafficking or something, and you farted, and I was like started laughing, and he's like, I couldn't be talking about anything more serious, and I was like, because Ronnie caught me that I like started laughing because he was in the bathroom or whatever, and then you're talking and I'm like trying to listen to you, and I like started laughing. I'm like, it's gonna look like I'm laughing about this.
If we hung out in person, like you guys would be blown away at how many times I fart. You'd be like, Jesus.
Yeah, I'm pretty bad too because I mean I do microdose mushrooms, and it's like I feel like that's the one thing that's helped with my depression and my anxiety throughout this whole thing.
Fuck yeah.
I mean,
Microdosing is awesome.
I've had it's like it really does feel like it turbocharges your brain. Like I love that image that if you just look up psilocybin neurogenesis, it shows like one side, it shows this like side by side view of the brain under normal conditions, and it shows like 10 or 15 brain connections, or maybe 50, right? And then the one on psilocybin that shows it right next to it, and it's got like 5,000 connections.
Yeah, like everything's lit up and connected. It's parts of the brain that like never communicate with each other.
Yeah, they like rebuild pathways and then build new ones.
Right? Well, that's the cannabis argument I always bring up is the Zhao Zhang study from the University of Saskatchewan that happened in 2005 in Canada. They proved that smoking cannabis stimulates new brain cell growth. Because what cannabis does, it's the only plant on the planet that does this. Even mushrooms don't do this. The hippocampus, where neurogenesis happens, the hippocampus, as you get older, shrinks in size as you get older and older and older. Well, when you smoke cannabis, the hippocampus grows in size. And the more you smoke cannabis, the more it grows. So it's like anyone who says anything about cannabis, I always bring that up every single time. I'm like, actually, smoking cannabis stimulates new brain cell growth, and you're a fucking moron. Shut your mouth. Admit you're wrong.
Yeah,
now you can learn something, and let's move forward.
Yeah, that's why it like makes you really. I honestly attribute like a lot of my open-mindedness and willingness to even look into a lot of the conspiracy stuff or whatever, and natural law, like I contribute a lot of that to my smoking of cannabis.
That is insane.
That is wild.
Yeah, look at that.
What I mean,
like
people that tell me they're like,
what the
people that try to call me crazy that I'm speaking out about how COVID's bullshit or whatever, and I've been honest about the fact that I smoke weed and I take mushrooms. I use mushrooms in my healing. I hike out into the woods. I build a tent. I build a fire. I'm sacred about my approach into like using the mushrooms. I'm not just eating them fucking 3-4 grams at a time, like willy-nilly. Like, I do it when I'm around people I love that are like open-minded and they want to heal as well, because most of the people I'm around have suffered terrible things, just like almost everyone in life.
Oh yeah.
We're all like in so much pain, and like these help, man. It's like I don't have to be a scientist. There doesn't have to be a scientific study that shows me that they help, because it's called experience.
Right.
It comes from the earth. They've been used in our society and for thousands of years. And I take reverence to these episodes where I take maybe 4, 5, 6 grams. It's like I go into it with intention. I go into it with, wanting to get something out of it. Of course, it's going to go in many directions, because that's what it does.
It's like a ride. You just kind of buckle in for the ride.
Yeah,
and
it's like they always
go where it takes you.
You have to. You can't resist.
Exactly.
If you see a doorway open, go through it.
That's where I think a lot of the whole stories of people bad trips. Quote bad trips and paranoia. It's because people are trying to fight the experience instead of just letting it happen.
Yeah, feeling the emotions.
Just going with the flow. That's because that's something that I always would tell people is like I don't understand what people mean when they say I have bad trips, because I've tripped on tons of LSD, mushrooms. I've messed with a lot of research chemicals too. I've done a lot of psychedelics, and I've never once had an experience where I would call it a bad trip. Like, because I've, because I always went into it with an open mind and like looking to get something out of it and just with curiosity and,
Yeah.
not being afraid,
I've had four. I've had four bad trips, and uh, the three of those bad trips were psilocybin mushrooms, and um, it's crazy, man. Those three times on psilocybin, I had a bad trip was because every single time, and it was three times in a row of eating mushrooms. Like I'm the kind of person that even if I have a bad trip, I don't care. I'm still gonna try again. But
Mm-hmm.
three times in a row made me confront death. It made me confront that my friends and my family are gonna die. My parents are gonna die. I'm gonna die. My dog's gonna die. And I just did not want to even go there.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to get high and have a good time.
Right.
Yeah.
And mushrooms will fucking crush you.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
The most
I mean,
humbling. They're the most humbling
yeah,
thing.
and that's the thing is that is where I guess that's another place where I think a lot of the bad trips come from is it's making you face things that you don't really want to face, like you said, like
Yeah.
I mean, and there's nothing harder for us to face than death because nobody has absolutely any clue or any idea about what death is, what happens when we die. There's tons of theories and people have lots of beliefs, but I mean, ultimately we're not going to know until it's our time and we go. So it's really a fucking scary thing to think about and to confront. And that's, definitely that's something that, psychedelics will, when you take you take an eighth of shrooms or you drop, a couple tabs of acid, then you don't really have a choice anymore at that point whether or not you're going to face it. You're locked in for the ride.
I see people doing that.
So
I see my friends doing that where
but that
like, they take it and then they're like, oh, I'm afraid not. I'm like, listen, if we were going to do this, we needed to do it 10 minutes ago before you actually ate them. I'm like, it's too late. So just trust me on this. I'm like,
yeah, well,
you gotta,
I tell you,
relax.
the only bad trip, I've only had one bad trip on LSD, and I'm the kind, my mind is really hard to break or get to go there for some reason. So I've always been the person that's like, if I'm gonna eat mushrooms, I'm gonna eat a quarter at least. You know? If I'm gonna eat acid, I'm gonna at least eat 10 hits. Like, it's got to be at least 10.
Take a whole strip.
Yeah, a strip to start.
I've never actually done the acid. I kind of stick to the plant medicines, but
maybe a couple hours in, I'll even eat more acid. But the only time I've ever had a bad acid trip is like, granted, I used to sell tons of drugs and I used to get vials of acid all the time, and I had a vial spill in my pocket.
Oh no!
The whole
shit!
It goes in through your skin, right?
Yeah, it absorbs through your skin.
Just spilt in my pocket, absorbed into my leg, and that is the only bad acid trip I've ever had. And that was like, I don't even fucking know. I don't know.
What was that like?
Funny because what's crazy was I thought I died, and I was with this guy that I thought was my friend, and then come to find out, literally, like, I was friends with him for like 4 years, but then like the next day I realized there was still a little bit of acid left, not all of it spilt in my pocket, and I had put it in the door of my car, and he ended up stealing it, and he was a piece of shit. And there's a whole long story about that why he was a piece of shit. But regardless, he drove me from where we were at my friend's house to back to his place. And then we got in the car, and he's driving my car because he didn't have a car at the time. And we drove back downtown because he wants to go out to the club or whatever. And so we go to a club, and it's weird. I ran into three of my friends, but on the way there, I thought that I was dead, right? And he was telling me shit. He was tripping balls driving my car, and he's telling me how my friends aren't my friends anymore and all this shit. And I'm just like, my friends aren't my friends. And then before we got there, I thought that I had reincarnated as a really old woman.
Wow.
We go to the club, and this club is like a 3-story club on 2nd Avenue. Broadway and 2nd Avenue in Nashville, Tennessee are like famous, super famous. And there's this club on 2nd Avenue, and we go in there, and we go all the way to the top floor, and they're playing like super gangster rap music, whatever, and we're on the roof. And like I walked over to the edge, and it's like me and him, and then my buddy left, and he went and got a drink or something, and there's some black people around me, and I thought they were going to kill me, even though I was pretty sure I was already dead. And I looked over the edge at First Avenue. I could see First Avenue down there, and I really contemplated. I was seriously about to jump. I thought about just being like, because all it would take is just going whoop, and you'd be gone. And it's funny. I came down, and it ended up being not a big deal. Granted, I lost my mind, but I came out of it fine. Like when I woke up later, I finally went to sleep and woke up, I was fine. But when I reflect on that, any story that I have ever been told about people jumping out of windows or jumping out of roofs on LSD, from that experience, I go, oh, I understand. Yeah. I get it. I totally get it, because you're tripping so hard that you're like, oh, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of this situation.
Yeah.
Something is going on that actually isn't going on at all. It's
Right.
on in your mind.
Right.
And you're like, fuck this, I got to go. And
Right.
you just jump, you're like, woo! And then you're dead,
Oh man, that's crazy.
It was fucking nuts. That was a wild night. But yeah, I woke up and I looked for my weed and I couldn't find it. And I opened up one of his dresser drawers because he was passed out. And I saw all my weed in there. And I'm just like, it's one thing to take a little bit and roll you a joint, whatever. But to take your friend's like ounce of weed and just claim it as your own and have it all. I was just like, fuck this guy. And then I got home and I couldn't find the vial. I was like, I know I put the vial in the door. I know it wasn't totally empty, but like most of it spilled in my pocket. But I put the rest of it in the door before I lost my mind, and then it was gone. And I was like, he definitely stole it because he's the only person I was with all night and all this bullshit. But if you guys don't mind, I want to get into, the whole drug abuse thing. If I can start it off, if y'all go there.
Yeah,
Sure.
get us going, man.
So let's see, my parents were married and they divorced when I was 5 years old. But before that divorce, I watched my dad beat the shit out of my mom. Then my mom was, granted, loving in the sense that I always had a roof over my head. I was always fed. My mom really cared about me being in activities, sports and shit. Granted, I think personally she put me in way too many, but that's neither here nor there. My mom, I'd get a detention or something and she fucking scream bloody murder. There's one time when I got in so much trouble that I ended up getting a Saturday detention at this Catholic school. She was driving me home, just screaming fucking bloody murder at me. And she was like, you want me to run this fucking car off the road? God damn it. And like, I'm a little kid just like crying my eyes out, like, oh, and all this shit. And then granted, I truly believe my dad's, granted, it was not right for him to beat the shit out of my mom. But when I was 17 and I almost beat the shit out of my mom, it clicked in my mind. I said, okay, what my dad did was not right. But knowing this woman and spending my whole life with this woman, I completely understand why he did it. It's like, hey, I want to get out of this. Hey, let's stop arguing. I'm ready to go. No. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. And then at some point, it's just like, fucking stop. You know what I mean? Like, so, and that's what it was. But granted, again, as I always say, it doesn't make it right. What he did, it was wrong. But I understand because she pushed him to that brink. It takes two to tango. It wasn't just he's a piece of shit by any means. So, but then there was some shit, my dad said some shit about my mom he shouldn't have said. And so all the shit, and then I get older and I read Gabor Mate's book and I watch Gabor Mate interviews and he talks about child abuse and, children that are severely abused as children are 70% more likely to abuse drugs and alcohol. And then you look at me, when I was 15, I started smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. I quit smoking cigarettes when I was 22, 21, 22, and I switched to dipping. And then, I only dipped for like a short time, and then I switched to the pouches. So I still dip, but it's the pouches, whatever, still just harmful. But I, uh, you know, then at some point, I experimented, I grew up, my mom bought me like Jimi Hendrix and Led Zeppelin movies and stuff. And I was all about the hippies and thought that was the coolest shit in the world. And so, I started smoking weed at 16. By 19, I had, 17 or 18, I ate mushrooms. And then 19, I ate LSD. And then that transpired into me selling weed and then selling LSD and getting LSD all the time, eating LSD all the time, research chemicals, and then, 2CE, 2CB, and then obviously, Molly. And I've never knowingly done meth, but I think there is one time when I bought Molly that it was Molly, but it was laced with meth, because I've never eaten Molly ever except for that one time, and come down and been like, I fucking need this. I need it. I need it. Oh my God, I need to get that again. Where's that guy? Who is that? I need it. I need, like I've never experienced that from Molly ever, except for that one time. So I think that I remember the high, and I was definitely rolling, but I think it was laced or like cut with methamphetamine, like for sure. No doubt in my mind, from what I know about how addictive methamphetamine is.
What's 2CB?
2CB and 2CE is like this LSD type chemical. They call it research chemicals. It's very similar, I guess, but
I've done 2CB before. Yeah.
Doesn't have like a lot of experience. I mean, those were fine experiences. I didn't freak out or anything. It was, pretty cool, honestly, but not something I would seek out just from it being very well known, and people, there have been people that have supposedly died taking it. So I don't know.
It is. Yeah, it's a synthetic psychedelic, so it's not like, it's man-made. It's not like natural or anything.
Right. And I mean, LSD is too, technically.
Right.
But LSD, for whatever reason, has this proof of very rarely making someone die or go into a psychotic breakdown. Most of the time it's an amazing experience, and it's just this playground of awesomeness. So then
like way more colors, right? Because I've actually never done acid. So I did it one time, and I had been up for like over 30 hours straight when I first took it. So I was like so exhausted that I literally fell asleep. Like my body started tingling, and then I literally fell asleep. But I've never done acid. I've only done psilocybin, like quite a bit actually. The first time wasn't until December of last year doing psilocybin, but then it was like starting in March. I've had many experiences since then, because I'm not addicted to exploring my mind and my spirituality. I'm just like, every time I have an experience, I come through a better man. Like, with more information and more knowledge, than I had before.
In 2000,
sorry to cut you off, Ronnie, but
no, you're fine. In 2012 and 2013, I started, for whatever reason, I guess I was offered a roxycodone, the blue pill, the blue 30 roxycodone, and then and at the same time, right around the same time, like I said, I would never, ever do cocaine. I was just like adamantly against cocaine. I was like, I know how destructive that can be, and I'm never going to do that. And I don't know, I had experimented with Xanax, and I didn't really like Xanax. 2010, 2011, I experienced it with Xanax. And, there was one time, it was the craziest experience. I ate a whole bar, and then like 5 minutes later, I sat down on my buddy's chair at his house, and I literally blinked. I closed my eyes and I opened them. It was the next day. And then I was like, what the fuck? And I asked my friend, oh yeah, you passed out last night, man. We fucking went and had a good time. And I was like, really? Like, what a waste of money. Christ, So I was kind of like, fuck. And a couple times before that, I had a couple experiences with snorting Xanax where it seemed like I had a good time, but then I didn't remember. Like I woke up the next day, I was like, how the fuck did I even get here? You know, and
Right.
the not having the memory like really bothered me. I thought that was so dystopian. I was like, no, fuck that. I'm not into that. So after, 3 or 4 times doing Xanax, I was like, it's not for me. So I tried Roxy's and I fucking loved it. The blue Roxy 30s, I was like, holy shit, you can crush this, you can snort it. And I had tried cocaine. And granted, it's funny, like the first time I did cocaine, I was like, oh, this is cool. And me and my friends or whatever, they let me do another line. I was like, I'm gonna go home. I went home, fucking had like the hardest dick ever and jacked off. Greatest experience. And literally every time since that experience of doing cocaine and trying to masturbate or fuck someone, I've had a limp dick every time, which is so unfortunate
Yeah,
because
the Coke dick.
all the
Yeah.
drugs ever, as
Oh, yeah.
horny as Molly makes you, at least for me, cocaine would make me like 10 times hornier, but not be able to get a hard dick. So
Yeah,
it was.
it's like a torture in and of itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
So-
keeps you up. It keeps you up all night, but then you can't actually do anything with that.
Right.
Because you
Right.
have you might even have a beautiful woman in front of you if you're so lucky, or a man,
Yeah.
Ronnie, if you
Yeah.
so choose,
Yeah. Well,
but like, it's like, and you can't even explore that body. You can't even do anything
Yeah,
with it because
yeah.
you're
Well-
useless.
well,
You're
so
useless.
in
I mean-
in 2013, I was doing cocaine, and then a buddy of mine who he's actually in prison now, but which that's a long story, but that I'm not going to get into. But he, I asked him if he had coke, and then he didn't have coke, but he was like, I got some heroin, I got some China White, you can snort this. I was like, oh, all right, well, cool. So I got some of that, and then I was like, oh man, this is kind of cool. And then the next time he had black tar, and then I had to smoke it, so I smoked that, and then I'd also do coke at the same time. And this is all 2013. The Roxy's. I started working with this guy that had Roxy's, and then he started giving them to me all the time, the 15s, the green ones, and I started taking those all the time, and that snowballed into the buddy I knew that had heroin. So then I started getting heroin. And then through him, I met someone else who I met someone else. And then the guy I went to high school with ended up hitting me up randomly. And we started talking, and he was all about heroin and cocaine. And then that snowballed into trying to get heroin. And then the guy couldn't get heroin, but his dealer came over and had crack. And I was like, well, fuck it. I'll just try it. Like, I just want to try every drug, what's in it? That's innocent. Like, I just want to see what every experience is like. So then I tried crack, and then out of all the drugs that I've ever done in my life, I would consider the most addictive and the most enjoyable drug to me was crack cocaine, like by far. I just love uppers. The way crack made me feel, I just was like all about crack. I was like, God, this is fucked up and this is sad, and I know it is because I went to a private Catholic school and they told me all about this shit. God damn, this is awesome. It's just like, I'm like, fuck yeah, And so, I never shot heroin, but I smoked it and snorted it. And then in 2014, and January 22nd of 2014, me and my buddy went, and the girl I was fucking at the time went to the liquor store down the street because I moved out of my parents' house and I moved in this neighborhood. It's kind of the ghetto in Nashville, North Nashville. And bought some liquor. Well, there happened to be a cop across the street that ran all the license plates in that were at the liquor store. And I didn't know that, or I didn't see him. And I pulled out, then he pulled out immediately and then pulled me over because when he ran, I had a suspended license at the time and I didn't have insurance or whatever. And he was like, all right, well, it's not really a big deal. Your friend can drive you home. He's like, I'm just going to check to see if you have any warrants or whatever. It's crazy because I stopped selling weed in probably November, December of 2012. So when this guy in January of 2014, all of a sudden is like, get out of the car. You have 2 warrants for your arrest, 2 felony warrants. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I haven't sold weed in forever. What the fuck? Like, are you kidding me? And I ended up going to jail for 3 or 4 days. And granted, I had already gone to jail a couple of different times before that, all for weed. And ended up going to jail and then had to go to court. And, granted, at the same time that all this shit is happening in 2014, like February, March, April, I decide, okay, my parents are going to help me out. I'm going to go to the YMCA and I'm just going to I'm going to get a membership at the Y. I'm going to start working out, try and get addicted to being healthy or whatever, I guess. And I was wearing a fish t-shirt, and my wife was a trainer at the Y, and she walked by and she goes, "Hey, cool shirt." And she kept walking. And I like looked up and she's like, walking away. And I was like, man, that girl likes fish, and look at that fat fucking ass. Like, oh, goddamn. And the rest is history. We're married now. And what happened was I was sober for about a month, and then I started using crack again. And then in like July or August, so I used crack from I stopped using crack in January of 2014, and then I started back in March. And then I quit using crack in June or July of 2014 when she asked me to move in with her, because I knew that this preppy, well, not preppy, she's not really preppy. I just got that idea about her because she's from Connecticut, right? And that's just the idea that you have, I guess, about Connecticut people.
It's true.
I just knew that she was not.
I went to school in Connecticut. It's true.
Okay. I was like, she's not gonna put up with me being a fucking druggie, and maybe this is a good opportunity for me. So I just quit cold turkey, and that's basically my story. Cocaine, crack, heroin, and granted, I don't ever want to eat Molly ever again. I'm good. I don't really care. MDMA is great, and I'm glad that they're experimenting with it and depression and all that shit. People that have PTSD, but I'm good. I don't really want any more. I'm good with just smoking weed, drinking IPAs from time to time, and then, occasional LSD or mushroom or DMT trip, whatever. But
have you done DMT?
Yeah, several times, and I've made it. It's so easy to make. It's
Really?
literally the root
Really?
bark, and you turn the root bark into a dust, and you take naphtha as the solvent. Naphtha, which you can get at Home Depot, Lowe's. You pour naphtha and the root bark together, and a little bit of water, and what'll happen is it'll separate. Right, the water will be underneath, and the naphtha will be on top. Well, the naphtha on top has pulled the DMT out of the root bark. So literally, you need a separatory funnel, which you can literally make with a 2-liter. Just poke a hole in the bottom of the 2-liter and let the water out all the way until you see the naphtha, and then hold your finger over it, stop it, and then take the lid off and pour that in like a glass jar, not a jar, but like a cooking, a bake, like you're going to bake like a fucking big bread or brownies or whatever.
Like a Pyrex glass.
A Pyrex
thing.
glass big thing, right?
Let it dry.
Let it sit, let it evaporate. Once that evaporates, all the naphtha's gone. It's totally safe. Then you just take a razor blade and you scrape the glass, and then you put that in a pipe and you smoke it, and you'll fucking blast off. It's that easy. It's
Wow.
Root bark? So like any old root bark? Or?
You need Mimosa hostilis root bark, which is hard to find because there are mimosa trees that grow all over America, but
I was going to say, like, where do they grow naturally?
Mimosa hostilis only grows in Central and South America.
That's okay. That's what I had always heard, is that it was from the bark of a tree in South America, Central America,
Amazon. Yeah.
Yeah, and they use that leaf. I can't remember the name of the leaf, but
ayahuasca.
the leaf to make ayahuasca, you take the root bark and you take a leaf of another plant, and the leaf is the MMO inhibitor.
Yeah, the inhibitor.
That keeps, like, destroying it,
Yeah.
But
yeah, I forget the name as well, but
and that is like the way to do it technically. But
Yeah.
if you want to do it synthetically, you just use naphtha as a solvent, separate the DMT out of the root bark, and then you smoke it.
I tried DMT once. It was a friend of mine. He actually had it in a vape pen, but
oh shit,
I'd never seen it. I'd never seen it in a vape pen ever. I always associated it with like the yellow powder. Like I've seen it in the form of yellow powder before, like DMT that you smoke. And but
It should be
apparently
white. It
it was.
should be white or slightly pink.
Yeah.
If it's good, it's either white or slightly pink.
Okay, I thought it was like supposed to be like
If it's
yellow. I thought
yellow, they something happened in the process and they fuck something up.
so. White or
Yeah.
pink, huh?
White or
Right.
pink.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I didn't blast off when
That's-
I did it because he was saying that like whoever sold it to him was saying, the rig that you're using might not be getting hot enough. So
No. Always use weed. Pack a bowl of
yeah,
weed.
That's what I
I
always
know, but I
heard
was
how to
just
do
saying
it.
he had it in the he had it in a
Pack like
vial. That's what I
oh
was.
right.
Yeah, so it was
That could be different than
yeah, that's why I was like I've never seen or heard of it in that form ever, not for DMT anyway.
Yeah, I've never done DMT, but I did this research chemical that was called 4-ACO DMT, which is like some kind of synthetic derivative of DMT. But it wasn't like something I like blasted off on. It was more, kind of like an acid trip, really.
What was it for
4-ACO DMT.
ACO?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of 5-MeO DMT, but
Yeah, I messed with like a lot of, because me and my friends who I hung out with and did drugs with, we messed around on the dark web a lot, like ordering drugs online and shit through the dark web. So, and there's a lot of like Silk Road was the popular one back in the day, but there's tons of like black markets online on the dark web.
yeah, Mason, we'll have to do a fucking separate
Uh,
show and you'll have to show me how to like I've
Yeah.
had the browser for years, but I'm like, how do you even navigate this thing? I don't even
It's not easy.
Navigate.
I honestly I would need a little bit of a refresher myself, because I was never too keen on like the whole navigating and like actually doing the shit online. As I had a couple other friends who are a lot more tech savvy with that kind of stuff who did most of it, but yeah, I mean we would order drugs. I mean, we'd order drugs from Canada and Europe, and like MDMA from Europe and acid from Canada, and like all kinds of shit like that.
yeah,
Yes.
I knew a friend. He was like he was a former Marine. He said he claims that he's part of Anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just like he's a little too unstable now.
Yeah.
He just I don't know, he like threatened me because like we had a mutual friend, like I was buying Xanax off this guy. He could get like Oxy 30s from the dark web and shit. So I was going to him for like gabapentin, Oxycontin, Xanax, and like he was the one. That was the first time I ever seen DMT, but it was like upstairs in his room, and he showed me his setup, and he was like on the dark web, and he was like showing me about Bitcoin and everything like that. Which, I mean, a lot of great
Yeah, you have
resources
to.
there. If he was
Yeah.
a little more stable mentally, I would be hitting him up right now, being like, hey, show me how to like work the dark web so I
Yeah.
can maybe be a little more protected or safe. Not so I can, I mean, get drugs or whatever, because
Right.
I'm really not that interested in that. I mean, I would prefer to get DMT or something through somebody I know personally,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just because you never know what you're gonna get. I mean, they're
Right. Oh
getting
no,
like they're
there's
getting like
the.
stamped, pressed like
Oh yeah,
drugs,
there.
like
You have
pills
to
and shit.
you have to be careful on like if you're buying drugs like on the dark web, because there's a lot of like scam people out there who like they'll post pictures of whatever drug, and you pay for it, and then you don't get anything in the mail ever from them. There's tons of scam, and what are you going to do? You can't call the cops and say some dude scammed me. I was trying to buy some acid from him and he didn't send me any acid. So,
Yeah,
but
too fucking bad.
yeah, and you also got to know how to use like you got to know how to use like Bitcoin and that kind of stuff too,
Yeah.
as it's all anonymous. But actually learned recently. I think it was actually on one of his the last podcast he did, that because I always thought, because my experience with using the dark web was all like drugs and illegal shit. So I always thought that's what the dark web was. But all the dark web actually is it's just the parts of the internet that like Google and Bing and Yahoo, all the search engines, it's websites and shit on the internet that they don't index, meaning that like, when you Google something, then, certain websites don't pop up on Google when you search for them. And it's like upwards of like, he said that like when you search something on Google, the results you get on Google is only like 3 to 7% of everything that's actually on the internet.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Like so over 90%
Wow.
of what's on the internet you can't even find through Google and all like the major search engines.
Wow.
How do we
So
actually access that? Is there
there's ways around it. There's
Or browser.
a lot of times you have to because even stuff like DuckDuckGo and like the browsers
even
that don't track you.
DuckDuckGo's
Uh,
getting bad now?
oh yeah, like even all those browsers, like even they won't show you dark web stuff. For the most part, you have to just know. I mean, as far as I know, I'm not too well versed on it either, but like you just have to know like the names of the websites and like type in the actual websites into the URL into your URL to find certain websites is the only way.
Wow.
Well,
3 to 7%. That's crazy.
Yeah,
dude.
it's absolutely. I mean, that blew my mind. I was like, you got to be kidding me! Like, fucking 90% of the shit that's on. So most of what's on the internet, you can't even find through, what the way that most people use the internet, which is just Google or Bing or some shit like that.
Holy shit.
Mason, what's
I gotta go take a piss. You guys keep going.
yeah, all right.
Right
Mason,
on.
what's your story?
Yeah. So for me, I first started kind of dabbling in shit when I think I was in seventh grade. Yeah, I was 13 years old in seventh grade. I had two buddies who we went to um, one of the buddies' houses, Paul. I had two buddies, Liam and Paul, and we went to Paul's house, and I got we got drunk. I got drunk for the first time. I think it was vodka. It was really stupid. We were like chasing vodka with like milk or something like that. It was retarded. But I got drunk for the first time, and then the very next weekend we went back to Paul's house too, and we all smoked weed for the first time. So within like a week, I got drunk for the first time and got high for the first time.
Damn.
And I was really kind of nervous before I actually tried any of this stuff because I was raised in a Catholic family, went to private Catholic schools, so you get all the kind of like the reefer madness type of propaganda of how drugs are bad and all these horror stories and with my grandpa, Papa, I call him. He's my mom's dad. He was him, his whole family, and also my his wife, who we call Mama. She both of them grew up, like their families were very like heavy drinkers, like really like hardcore, like my mama, her mom was like hardcore, super hardcore alcoholic. Like she wasn't even raised by either of her actual parents. And the first time she met her mom when she was a little girl, she met her at a bar and she was like just totally trashed and drunk. Um, and then Papa, he started drinking when he was like 12 or something crazy like that, and like his whole family were heavy drinkers. And my mama, she never actually drank because she was like really traumatized by like her mom and like how bad of an alcoholic she was, so she never was a big drinker. But my Papa, he was a big drinker. When they got married when they were like 18, 19, so they were really young, got married like right out of high school. And she told me a bunch of horror stories about Papa coming home drunk. And basically she was just really anti-alcohol, and they were both around, have always been in my life since I was young, so I always heard a lot of horror stories from them about alcohol and how bad alcohol and drinking is. So basically all I ever got was bad stories about drugs and alcohol. So I was kind of nervous the first time I tried them. And since you just got back, Andy, I was saying that the first I got drunk for the first time when I was 13 in seventh grade with two friends. And then the next weekend we all hung out again and we got high for the first time. But contrary to everything I was told, I was like, actually had a really fucking good time. Like I got drunk. We like played some video games. We watched a movie. Like we just had a good fucking time. Like ate a bunch of pizza. Then we hung out and we got high, and it was the same thing. We were just goofy and joking around and having a good time. And
Yeah,
this went against like,
inhibitions down. Yeah.
right, and like it went against like everything that I
Right.
always heard and told. I was like, so I was like, man, like this isn't so bad. Like, you know, why am I always told all this horrible shit about this? We just got, you know, drunk, got a little high, and had a good time together. Nothing crazy happened. And so after that, I started with it. There was another buddy of mine, Austin, who you know, we would smoke weed together, and he lived like within walking distance from the school we went to. So he would walk home from school, and then pretty much every weekend, like seventh and also and then eighth grade too, I would almost every Friday after school, I would walk home with him and go to his house, and we would just get high. So like I was almost every weekend, you know, I was smoking weed, getting high, and for some reason I always look back and don't understand why this happened, but eventually with smoking weed, I was introduced to cigarettes and started smoking cigarettes a little bit here and there too, and tobacco. And there was like a weird period for like a couple months where all my buddies that I smoked weed with, we stopped smoking weed and we would just like hang out and smoke cigarettes. We got like I never understood. Like I always think back and I was like, I don't understand why we did that. Like oh, this is the cool thing to do now. We're just gonna hang out and smoke some cigarettes. Like we're gonna go sneak out back at night out of the house and go smoke cigarettes behind the shed or something.
Rebels.
And
Rebels.
and right. So
At that age, though, it's like your
right.
parents.
And
If my parents saw me, they would fucking.
oh yeah, no. And I'd gotten caught. I never got caught smoking weed, but I got caught like smoking cigarettes and stuff though when I was younger. And so then on, I went into high school. I kept I started smoking weed again, and then pretty much the whole first semester of my freshman year of high school. And then basically I kind of, because a lot of the guys that I hung out with and I smoked weed with, they went to a different high school than I did. So I kind of stopped hanging around with a lot of the guys that I hung out with in middle school that, you know, I'd hang out with and smoke with. And then I ended up, I joined the volleyball team at my high school, and I never played volleyball before because I actually played baseball like all my life growing up. But I tried out for the freshman like summer team going into my freshman year of high school, and I didn't make the team. And I just did some reflecting, and I was like, man, you know, I'm kind of burned out with baseball. I don't really want to play baseball anymore. So I decided to try something new. Started playing volleyball because a friend that I had played baseball with growing up, he was playing volleyball and he suggested it to me. So I tried it out, fell in love with it, had a lot of fun with it. So I started hanging out. A lot of my friends then were guys that I played volleyball with, and a lot of them were more kind of straight edge guys. They didn't like, you know, mess around with drugs or anything like that. So for about a year and a half there, I was basically completely sober. I didn't mess with anything at all. But then getting into my junior year of high school, I started making some more new friends that I went to school with, and they were a lot more, or they were just kind of wanting to experiment. Like, so I hadn't smoked in like a year and a half, but one of my friends, Zach, came to me and another one of my buddies, Tim, and was like, I want to smoke, like, I want to try smoking weed. He never smoked weed before. He's like, I want to smoke weed. And I know you guys have smoked weed before. So like, will you smoke with me? And so we were like, yeah, cool, whatever. So we hung out, we smoked weed. And then from there, you know, found out, you know, in high school, like fucking like everybody, especially like I found that at like private Catholic schools, like at least the one that I went to, like people really like love getting fucked up. So there's a ton of people. Like I just started like hanging out with tons more people, and was just smoking weed constantly. Like every day after school, I'd have like some buddies like, oh, like I got some weed. Let's go roll up. You know, out in, there was like a bunch of woods where I went to high school, so we just like go out in the woods and smoke after school or something. And and then basically we just started to get really curious about drugs and stuff. So we just were like, all right, you know, like this weed's really cool, but like, you know, we want to try like we want to try acid, we want to try shit, we want to try all this other shit. So it wasn't actually until it was the summer between my junior and senior year of high school was when that's when I first started to like experience with quote hard drugs, where I did Molly for the first time. Although I'm pretty sure, I don't think it actually was Molly because it was a white powder. I think it was just like Adderall. Looking back, it was it because it definitely, because I had later on I actually did real MDMA, and it was like crystals. So,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, yeah, like this, and it was a totally different experience and feeling than when I did the white powder shit. So I was like, all right, that should definitely, I don't know what it was, but it was not, definitely wasn't, actual MDMA. But then I did mushrooms for the first time too. And so this age, I'm like 17 now. Is when all this is happening.
Damn, 18 years before
and,
me.
And so like, so I'm trying all these, quote harder drugs, and I'm having the same realization, like, oh, all I've ever heard is like horror stories and bad things. But like, this is really awesome. Like me and my friends who we all ate shrooms together, we had like this really like awesome like trip and fun time together, and like kind of, it made us like really open up to each other and, talk about like, serious shit and stuff. And
That you would never
just,
talk about before.
right. Exactly. Like, kind of talking about like, at home struggles and things growing up that, so like it brought us like really close together. And we were like, this is really fucking awesome that like some fucking, a plant that we ate, like just opened our minds and made us more comfortable and willing to like talk about this and brought us even closer together. So,
that's what they do, man. It's
right.
like,
I mean,
so
it was just so
honestly.
incredible, and like it was just so surreal and incredible, and I remember funny story from that is we like beforehand, like me and my friends, we always like to prep for like a trip if we were gonna like eat some acid or shrimps. We'd like go to the store, buy a bunch of snacks, buy a bunch of, just a bunch of shit. And this particular time, we bought like this giant ass, like, I think it was like a whole pound of strawberries, like this big ass thing of strawberries. And me and it was me and three other guys who did the shrooms together. And me and one of the other guys, we were like outside because the buddy's house we were at had a pool in the backyard. So we were outside swimming or something, or kicking a soccer ball around. And me and one of the other guys, Zach, we went inside and we were like, oh shit, we got strawberries. And like we started munching on these strawberries. It was the fucking greatest thing I'd ever eaten in my life. And literally the two of us, in like less than 10 minutes, we ate the entire fucking pound of strawberries between the two of us. And our other buddies came inside and were pissed off. They're like, what the fuck? We wanted some. But, yeah, and that was, I digress though. That was just a funny little anecdote from that.
Oh, it is funny how like anything you fucking touch, anything you eat, like after you like after you have a mushroom experience or whatever, because you tend to not eat for a while,
right?
Like until the end, and you're just like, you go and you taste that whatever it is, and you're like, oh my god, food, nourishment.
Right, yeah.
And you're just like, it's just
especially
when it's a fruit.
Right, exactly. I was gonna say because my experience is like, even with acid, like if I eat like some candy, like something that's real sugary, like that's like really unappealing to me. I found, but like I always would like eat like a fruit, or like drink like a fruity beer or something, or IPA, like a wine. Like I was just like, oh my god, this shit is so fucking amazing. It's like oh, because it's nature, it's like natural.
Yeah.
But
oh yeah, man, I'm all about that shit.
Right. So then going on from there, going into my senior year of high school, so they started drug testing at our high school, because there was a girl from our class who got addicted to heroin, and she ended up like dropping out of school because she like had such a bad heroin addiction. And her parents were really like super fucking wealthy, because I went to a private Catholic school with like a bunch of really wealthy people.
Me too.
So I particularly, I was not a wealthy kid from the East.
I got drug tested. I failed.
I was from the East. Well, that's actually, I guess I neglected that to mention that the end of my junior year of high school, I got drug tested and I failed for weed. And that was in the middle of the volleyball season. And they had
Me
rule.
too.
They had a rule that if you failed a drug test, then you had to like sit out for like the next so however many games, and like there's like all these stupid rules and shit. Like basically, if you're in whatever extracurricular activities you're in, you had to like miss out on them. You had to go and like take these special drug classes and go and talk to like the school's priest and do like basically like like some therapy type shit. It was all a bunch of bullshit and
Priest is like, will you please suck my cock? You're like, okay.
Yeah, and then the
he,
Vatican's like, oh, nothing to see
the
here. We're just gonna move them, move
right.
them around.
The priest at our school, he was actually pretty cool because he actually was like a former like alcoholic. Like he was an addict himself, so he was actually like really cool about it. Like he wasn't like all like judgmental about it. Like he was like, it didn't feel like you were talking to a priest, I guess, if that makes sense when you talk to him. Because he wasn't all like, oh God and Jesus, you gotta go and say some Hail Marys and pray for Jesus to help you through your marijuana's addiction. Like it was nothing. It was nothing like that. But and the so I failed a drug test there, and um, and also the funny story. The only reason that I got drug tested was because they drug tested the football team. Like before spring or at like the end of the football season or something like that, or at the beginning of the second semester, like because they would start conditioning for football, even though it wasn't until fucking fall. They would start conditioning in the winter, so they drug tested the football team and a bunch of kids. I mean, there's like 200 something guys on the football team, from freshman, JV, and varsity. So a bunch of guys failed the drug test there, and the sports coaches at my high school are really competitive with one another. So our volleyball coach is all like, "Oh, well, I'm going to drug test my varsity volleyball players, and they're all such good stand-up guys that they don't do drugs. So
Bad idea.
I'm gonna have them take
Bad
drug
idea.
tests to prove how good that they are." And it was right after spring break where I had gone to fucking Panama City, Florida, and was smoking fucking weed on the beach all week. So I was like, well, fuck. Like, so
Bad
I knew I was
timing.
going to fail. So
Bad timing.
so yeah, so actually I ended up just because of all the bullshit that I was being put through because of it. I just decided I just quit the team, and I was like, fuck it. I'm not even going to play anymore. I just quit. Because the coach was basically like, oh, I'm going to make fucking life hell for you. You're going to be fucking just running sprints for 2 hours straight and running laps for 2 hours straight at practice for the next 2 weeks. I'm like, fuck all that shit. I quit. I'm not going to, just because I fucking smoked some weed, now I have to be fucking punished like this. Like, I was like, I'm not going to fucking put up with this. So I just fucking quit. But so back to what I was saying, the rich girl who got addicted to heroin, her parents, they donated $1 million to the school for this drug testing program to like drug test the students, because in their mind it was going to be saving kids from addiction. So I knew going into my senior year of high school, since I'd failed the drug test at the end of the year, my junior year, I was probably going to be like top of the list to be tested as soon as school started. And so actually that was another reason why I was experimenting with the Molly, the MDMA, and the mushrooms, is because like most of the summer I wasn't smoking weed because I was trying to make sure there was no weed, because I knew, stuff like mushrooms and MDMA, that gets out of your system after just a few days. Like it's not going to show up in a drug test in a month. So sure enough, first 2 weeks of school, I get tested twice within the first 2 weeks of school, but I passed the drug tests. So, but because they were doing this drug testing every week, nobody wanted to smoke weed, since weed stays in your system way longer than any other drug. So me and all my buddies, we started just experimenting with other drugs and getting curious. So we started doing acid a bunch and more mushrooms, and messing with like some pills and stuff too. So we we always joke that, oh, it's our high school's fault is why we started experimenting with drugs, because they wouldn't just let us smoke weed. But
Prohibition does not work, dude.
yeah,
Prohibition does not work.
exactly. It just made us turn to harder stuff.
The more you tell us not to do something, the more we're gonna seek it out.
Right.
It's just our nature.
So I ended up later on, like around Thanksgiving that year, did acid for the first time. It was fucking amazing. I loved it even more than the shrooms. Had a fantastic time. And then next time, it was about a couple, probably 2 months later, did acid again with the same guy I did it with the first time, and then two other friends who had never done it before. And um,
Hey, Ronnie, mute your line this time, all right? I don't want to hear you toilet flushing again. Until you get out of the bathroom, just put a mute on it. And then so we don't have to listen to your ass fart when Mason's trying to tell a story. All right? You got Mason again here. You're gonna get him again.
So I the second time that I did acid, so this friend that I was doing it, he was the one who was like really big and like knew how to use the dark web and was like usually the one who always got the drugs for us to do. His name was Carter, and I ended up finding on later on that this kid is like actually like a fucking psychopath. But that's a whole nother part of the story. But he so we go to do I do acid the second time, and I guess you could technically say this was a bad trip that I had. This is really the only, I guess you could call it, bad trip I ever had with any kind of psychedelic. And so basically what he told me is it was like 400 micrograms of acid I was taking is what he told me, which is typically they say like one tab of acid is like 100 micrograms. So it'd be about 4 tabs of acid basically. But I come to find out later on that they're like triple like fucking soaked or triple dosed or double dosed. So they're like, actually it's like upwards of like 1,000 micrograms of acid.
So like 10 hits.
Yeah, so like a whole strip of acid probably. I mean, I don't even know for sure, even to this day, exactly how much it was. But basically, I went into psychosis. Like I completely lost my mind. Like had a drug-induced psychosis, and I didn't like do anything crazy or anything like that. Like I wasn't like fucking being violent or anything like that. But I was just gone. Mason was just not there anymore. I was just a whole nother person, and like. So it was a really, really strange, and a lot of it was like I kind of blacked out too. Like I don't even remember a lot of the experience either. I only remember like bits and pieces of it. And I even like we went outside during the trip too, and it was in the wintertime, and I like fell and slipped on some ice and fucking like hit the back of my head on the fucking concrete. Like it was a lot of crazy. It was just a crazy time, and.
How long did that last? Like, do you know, like that state of that you were in where you were just gone? Like real time, you think?
I was pretty okay for most of like the come up, and it was probably about 2 to 3 hours in where it just fucking hit me, and it was like fucking like the visuals were so intense. It was like I literally like couldn't even like hardly see my hand in front of my face. Like the visuals were so intense. Like
yeah, like
open eyed, like not even with my eyes closed. Like. Yeah. Like I remember we were in my friend's basement, and I was looking at, he had this fire pit, and like there's brick, and like it was like all the bricks like just started kind of like shifting, and it was like a bunch of like hieroglyphs and shit, like shit that you would see on like painted in like pyramids of Egypt or like ancient like Mayan like hieroglyphs and shit like that. It was really weird, but it was like all these fucking like weird geometric shapes and shit were just like appearing out of like in my vision, and like everywhere I looked, it was just like that's all I saw, and
there's no escaping it.
I was like just blinded by the visuals essentially for a minute, and then yeah, so I mean it was absolutely nuts. One of the craziest experiences I've ever had for sure. And I think it only lasted. I mean, it lasted basically for about this typical time an acid trip lasts, so 8 to 10 hours, probably something like that. But I remember when I came down from it, and it was almost kind of like, it was like everything just kind of like snapped back. Like I just came back all of a sudden, like I don't know. It was really weird. And I was just super confused. Like just for the longest time, I was just sitting there and like looking around, trying to like comprehend like what the fuck just happened to me. And yeah, it was really weird. But in the fact that two of the other guys that were with us had never done acid before, and that happened to me, they were like fucking freaking out the whole time too. So like
shit.
they were like, "Oh, Mason, like, are you okay? Mason, are you back? Is it you, Mason? Are you back? Are you good?" So it was very 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 weird, very very surreal. So for the longest time after that, I was afraid to like do any more psychedelics because I thought like, oh, it's gonna happen again. Like, kind of made me afraid. But I ended up again. Only a few months later, I did mushrooms, and I was perfectly fine. And so yeah, so most of my senior year of high school, I mainly was just doing psychedelics and stuff. Nothing too crazy. It was after I got out of high school. My After I graduated high school, the summer before I went to college, that's when I really started experimenting with shit like cocaine and heroin and pills and shit like that. So because I was of like the same mindset like Ronnie like mentioned. He was like, when he did the crack, he was like, oh fuck it, I just kind of want to experience everything and see what everything's like. That was kind of mine and my friends' mentality. We're like, oh fuck it, let's just try a little bit of everything, just see what it's like.
Try everything once.
We've gone,
Yeah.
we've gone this far. Why not just give everything a try? So we started.
It's like I knew I had an addiction to crack and cocaine, but I really didn't believe I had an addiction to heroin.
Yeah.
I'm not shooting it. I'm just smoking it, And it's
Right. And I never shot up heroin, but I only ever snorted or smoked it too. But
Me as well.
So we started messing around a little bit with I did the one time when I did the real actual MDMA was in my senior year of high school too. On spring break, all my buddies, we went to Florida on spring break and we took some MDMA with us, and that was like really fucking awesome experience. But because I didn't realize that actual real MDMA is actually kind of psychedelic, because you kind of get like a little bit of like visuals too. I thought it was just all like the feeling and like the ecstasy kind of stuff is what I'd always heard about. But I got like a little bit of like the condos on the beach. They kind of had like this little like waviness to them and stuff. But so yeah, like we started messing around coke, heroin, like in speedballing, like doing coke and heroin together. And just like
been there, done that.
popping pills, any kind of, mostly like opiates, like whatever kind of shit we can get our hands on, whether it be hydrocodones, Roxys, oxys, yeah, everything like that.
I never did oxys. I never find oxys.
That's what was huge where I was. Oxycodone, Perk 30s, or Oxycontin. Pure Oxycontin too.
Yeah.
Dude, Mason, I'll tell you, one time I went to I used to get heroin for a buddy of mine, and we would smoke it and snort it together. There's one time when I bought a quarter of heroin, and I also bought an eighth of crack, and I ended up doing all the heroin. The next morning, he was like, "Hey man, you got that heroin?" I was like, "No, I did it all."
Yeah.
All of it.
Oh shit.
That's wild.
I would smoke it. I'd be throwing up on the floor, which is actually ODing, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Throwing up on the floor of a hotel that I paid $100 for, because I was like humiliated that I was doing this shit anyway.
Yeah.
And I'd be throwing up, and then I'd be like, "Oh, where's the crack?" And I'd smoke the crack. I'd be like, "I'm back. I'm back." And then I'd be like, "Let me smoke some more heroin." I'd be like, "Let me smoke some more crack."
Yeah, just going up and down, just back and forth. But yeah, so I mean, so once I got into college, that's when things really started to hit the fan for me in terms of drug use.
Did you go to school?
I went to Loyola University in Chicago. Okay. It's on the north side of Chicago. So, and I went with my friend Carter, the one who kind of like introduced me and all my friends in high school to drugs, and like he was my roommate too in college. So, being up there and on my own, I'm not living in my parents' house, so I basically don't have anyone to answer to at this point, and I'm up in Chicago all by myself. Oh, well, I've got my friends, but so I'm pretty much completely autonomous at this point. I don't have like parents bugging me about, like what am I doing, and when are you getting home at a reasonable hour and all that bullshit. So, um, started to, I mean, basically the first thing that we did as soon as we got there on the campus is we're just asking everybody about like, like, oh, do you know any plugs? Like we're trying to get shit. Like we were just looking for the drugs as soon as we got there, basically.
Gotta have the
And
plug, man.
so we really easily and quickly found people who had weed, because tons of people always have weed. That's never hard to find. But we ended up finding this one guy. He hooked us up with this particular guy who sold weed, who also sold a shit ton of Xanax. So we started fucking buying Xanax from this guy too. Whenever we'd buy weed, and we're fucking eating bars of Xanax,
Oh,
basically
man.
like every day.
Blacking out every fucking day.
Yeah, dude. I mean, and
It's
and
like
then,
Ronnie said, you just lose like days of your life.
oh no, it's ridiculous. Like you'll wake up 3 days later and you're like, what the fuck have I done? It's like, oh, I haven't done anything. I've just fucking laid in my bed in my dorm room, fucking eating Xanax.
Number one
Right.
ingredient in Prozac, fluoride.
Yeah, yeah.
I did not like it.
But
Yeah,
see,
no,
I,
Ronnie,
I,
you
I,
wouldn't.
I never really even liked it either. Is the thing. Like it was mainly because I kind of, I don't know, I kind of got really depressed in my freshman year of college, because um, I kind of realized that I didn't really want to be going to school, like going to that school. I didn't really like the people I was with, because all of my like actual really like better and close friends, they all went to a different school, and I like, they'd send me like videos of them on Snapchat, or I'd see shit on social media. They're having a good time down there, not fucking with like Xanax and all that and dumb shit like that. Just, drinking a little and smoking a little, and maybe tripping every now and then. And I was like, man, like I'm so unhappy. I don't like this school at all. Like I wish I would have gone to this. I wish I would have gone where all my other friends went. So I guess I was basically just kind of self-medicating with the Xanax, because it makes you just not really give a shit. And
Where'd your friends go? Ball State?
yep, you know it, of course.
Did they really?
Yeah, they went to Ball State. Yeah.
In Muncie?
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I'm not.
trips
Yeah.
for the first time was in Muncie, man.
Yeah.
What is that, Muncie, Indiana?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the middle of fucking nowhere.
I've
Yeah,
driven
it's-
across country 4 times, and I'll tell you, there's not a fucking thing on Interstate 80, 90 through Indiana. It's just
Oh
like,
no. There's
it's so boring.
there's a
Fuck, is it
fun
boring.
fact. Probably the only cool thing about Muncie is, do you guys know who Bob Ross is, the painter guy?
Yes.
He that's where he lived. He lived in Muncie, Indiana, and that's where he like filmed all of his shows.
Bob Ross, yeah.
That's like, and they have like a museum there. It's the only place in the world where any of his like paintings are like on public display.
His beard game was strong. Bob
Yeah,
Ross.
it was.
He
Yeah,
would
was.
appreciate my beard.
Oh, for sure, for
You
sure.
see that fucking gray, dude? 35. 35. Shit is gnarly right now.
Yeah,
Fucking curling.
Grow one.
but yeah, I can only kind of grow like some scratchy shit.
Oh
I can't really
shit!
grow
I
a
got the
real
leg
beard.
up. I ain't got no hair left up here though.
Yeah, you're making up for all the lost hair up there.
Yeah, motherfucker.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's where most of my like close friends, they went to Ball State. That's where a lot of people that I went to school with went.
I can't believe I guessed that right. I was joking.
That's actually pretty amazing. I wasn't even mentioning the name of the school, because I didn't think either of you would know Ball State, but that's hilarious.
Weren't they?
But,
Didn't they make it to the NCAA tournament a couple times?
Probably.
I could have
But
sworn they were one of like the Cinderella schools. Like
they
who
probably lost in like the first round though, because they're not like good at any sports. But
I know, but they were like I
Yeah.
think they were like a 12 seed, and they beat like
Yeah.
a 5 seed or something.
probably, yeah, I think there might have been it.
Muncie also the first place I rate shrooms. That was also the first place. The one
Really,
time I've ever been shocked by a taser.
really.
The guy
Yeah,
I was working with, that I was partying with in 2009 when I went there, he was like, dude, I got a taser. And I was like, dude, you should shock me with that. Like, for real? I was like, yeah, dude, hit me in the leg with that. And he went, bzzz. I was like, oh, shit.
I was working with some guys, some construction guys in Northern California. I lived in the Bay Area for a couple of years. I was trying to become a pro golfer and shit. And that was a while ago, 8 years ago. And these fuckers were like shocking each other. And I'm like, keep that shit away from me, man. Like, you fucking psychos. Like,
That's right.
because like they don't even tell you, you know, and they fucking end up getting me anyway. I'm like, you fucks. Like, oh, down on the ground. You don't even know what's coming, you know? It's
Oh
like,
man, speaking of golf, those golf cart videos where people are just running people over on golf carts, like, that's funny to watch, but like that's fucking really dangerous.
Yeah.
dude, those things fucking
Yeah,
hum.
golf carts are not like if you flip a golf cart over, like that's
Oh,
there's
I've done
nothing
it.
protecting you.
Nah, dude, I've done it. It's not
Yeah.
that fun.
Yeah. I've crashed a golf cart into a lake actually before. It's a funny
Oh,
story.
nice.
Dude, it's like everyone should just learn their lesson from
That's
Bam
solid.
Margera and Johnny Knoxville when they jumped
Right?
in Jackass.
That's exactly what came to mind for me.
Fucking Johnny Knoxville's like, oh, it hurts so bad. It's not even funny anymore. It fucking hurts.
Oh yeah,
That's incredible.
done a lot of dumb
Yeah.
shit on the golf course,
Yeah.
man. Fuck, because there's always alcohol involved. And
Oh yeah.
have you guys ever seen Hall Pass, the movie where he's like,
I don't think I've seen that.
so there's like a group of guys, their wives go out of town and they get a hall pass, you know, to do whatever
Oh,
they
yeah, I
want
saw
or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And so like this guy, they go to play golf at a country club, and this guy's like, yeah, you guys want to eat some special brownies? He's like, my gardener gave them to me or whatever. So like they eat the brownies and they're like, oh, it does feel a bit naughty, you know. And then they fast forward like an hour and a half later, and like the guy's taking a shit in the sand trap, and one guy's like out there like in the pond, and he's on his cell phone, and he's in the pond like up to his waist. And he's like, I talked to my gardener. He said we all ate way too much. You're only supposed to eat a quarter of a piece. And they all like just hawking brownies, and this guy's shitting in the sand trap. It's fucking so
I need,
fucking funny.
I need to check that movie out. That sounds hilarious.
Oh man, dude. I don't know if you guys ever had any episodes where you've taken too many edibles.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
Guys, I used to make coconut. So THC is fat soluble.
Uh-huh.
So the best thing to make it with, if you're gonna turn it into an oil, is coconut oil.
Mm-hmm.
Oil will like absorb
Edibles,
Medibles.
out of
300 milligrams.
Massachusetts, you cocksucker. Recreational weed. God damn it. Fuck
That's-
you.
Massachusetts, this place sucks, but weed's legal here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. That's I wish I lived in a state where it's legal, man. I wish I could just drive down to the fucking corner to a dispensary and get some fucking shit.
I know. Just grow it yourself, Mason. Fuck it. That's what I'm doing.
Honestly, I should. I live by myself. I could easily get away with it.
Just call it tomatoes. I'm growing OG
What
Kush
yeah,
tomato plants.
OG Kush tomatoes. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Dude, the most ridiculous thing ever. Fucking.
I'm gonna
that
grow
weed
some
is
Northern
not
Lights
legal.
tomatoes.
I
I'm
mean,
gonna grow some White Rhino tomatoes. It's just, I also have like a massive garden outside of my house, so it's.
That's
I have a-
awesome.
right on, man.
I really want to. I've always wanted to get into gardening and
I
grow
have
my
a
own shit.
2,500 square foot garden.
Damn.
Sounds big, but it's honestly not that big.
Yeah, it's not as big as it sounds.
it's bigger than the gardens we have.
Yeah, my non-existent garden.
Yeah, I got. You can see all the squash that we have.
I'm just
You know-
waking up now. It's like
Yeah.
I should have been building this garden, and you know,
The most I've ever done is like grown some sprouts in a jar or some like
God,
some herbs.
it's just.
wow.
But
You're ready for the apocalypse.
Yeah, no shit.
We know where we're going. We know
Yeah,
where,
I know where I'm going when
we know
the
where
shit
the
hits the
Alamo
fan.
we know where the Alamo is.
got a lot of
Tennessee.
squash, man. Hey, man, we can jam the fuck out. I got drum sets and
Oh
piano
damn, bro.
bars.
Yeah.
It's all tore up right now. I'm trying to fix this shit. My goddamn studio is destroyed right now. That's why I got like, the fucking sound things,
Oh yeah.
walls and Yeah.
Right
Oh,
on, man.
I got black lights hanging from the ceiling. You know.
Black lights make me think of like 8th grade, 9th grade. I'd go hang out at my buddy's house and, the lights off, the black lights on, the lava lamp, get the lava lamp going.
Yeah, I got a lava lamp.
You guys remember,
Lava lamps
remember
are
the
the
lava?
shit.
You have one?
Lava lamps are the shit.
Yeah.
I don't have one
I
right
love
now,
those
but I,
things,
I
dude.
used to have them.
I
You
love
can
those
still
things.
buy them at Walmart, brand new. But
It's
yeah,
so fucking hot. Remember how hot they would get?
Oh, I
I got
actually,
one for Christmas when I was like
Burnt
30.
myself on that shit.
I have that lava lamp and it still works just fine.
I had a buddy actually who he had a lava lamp. This is like when we were in like grade school. He had a lava lamp and it stopped working. So he thought like, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll put it in the microwave. That'll make it start working. So he goes and he puts the lava lamp in the microwave. And he said, and he was like, luckily, he's like, most of the time, like as a kid, you'd like put something in the microwave and you like sit there and stare at it through the glass.
Doesn't
He was,
sound
he,
smart.
he was like, usually I would always stare at the whatever I'm warming up through the glass, but this time I decided to just go watch cartoons in the meantime. And like 30 seconds later, fucking it just explodes in the microwave. And he goes in his kitchen and there's fucking the lava lamp shits all over the fucking kitchen. The microwave's totally destroyed and in pieces.
Yeah, I knew that wasn't gonna end well. I knew that wasn't gonna end well.
Yeah. So don't microwave your lava lamp if it's not working.
Now that sounds like something I needed to hear. Like
Yeah.
I would just do something like that,
No, I mean that's obviously that's some dumb like little kid shit.
Yeah. How old was he? 17?
Probably like no he's probably like 10, 12. Like
Yeah.
he was really young, but
Yeah, that's
Andy, I want to hear your story about drugs and shit. It's about to be midnight and I got to get up at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I know, buddy. Let's we could do it again, man. I can what is it? Give me let's just do it. Let's do it again.
yeah, that's fine.
We've been going at it for like 3 hours.
Yeah, I guess I didn't even quite. I feel I was dragging on kind of a long time with mine, but
No, it's all good.
I only got like halfway through. I was just getting into like the shit, like the real like crazy shit.
Yeah, no,
like,
we'll
my time in college is like when shit really got bad for me.
Maybe, well, Mason, what we'll do is how about like I'll plan on getting like each one of you guys on, so give each of us more time just to like get to know each other, and then I don't know if you guys want to maybe think about meeting like once every other week or whatever, touch base, like
Sure.
See what's going on, see if you guys like if we need any help with anything, because like I want to talk about like in the truth community, right? Like there's a ton of arguing amongst each other about details, right?
Right.
But I think at the heart of it, it's coming into this, like I'm almost a new set of eyes, right? Like just waking up, and you guys have your process and how long you've been here, but it's like, yes, we all talk about the problems and we complain about the problems, but it's like, what are the solutions? I want to be able to like talk about that, brainstorm about that, like, because it's always the question I ask every day. It's like, it feels impossible. The situation feels impossible. It's like so dark right now.
It's like it feels like no matter what you do, you're fighting a losing battle.
Yeah, and it's like everyone around me where I'm like expressing all this passion and this anger and this sadness and whatever, man, because this whole thing's fucked me up bad, this whole COVID thing. Like in terms of like the relationships with my family, like I've always been a person who's just, I've never been confrontational, shit like that. And granted, that was because I was a pushover, and that was because of things that happened to me when I was a boy that I didn't understand. And now that I understand what happened to me as a boy through mushrooms, through a psilocybin experience that unlocked a bad memory for me, something that like was, I was, like I said, I was molested as a young boy. I was like 4 or 5 years old. And then I started pissing the bed from that point on. And I didn't know that like pissing the bed is closely tied to early childhood trauma. And I never really wanted to look at that wound, like look and see why, but it made my whole life make sense. All that addiction, all that pain. That's what I was actually getting away from. That's what I was hiding from, but I didn't even know it. I didn't even fucking know it until a few weeks ago. And it like
It's
Hey,
that's like how repressed memories are defined. They're like things that you forgot about that you don't even remember forgetting.
Yeah.
how fucked
And
up is this? I was molested as a child. Like I was like 3 or 4 or 5, somewhere around there, and the kid was like 12. But my memory of it is I actually liked it.
Yeah.
As fucked up as that is, I was like, this is sweet. Someone's sucking my dick. All right. It's just the problem when you get to be an adult, you go, oh, wait, children should not be sexualized that young.
Right. Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you like it or not. You shouldn't be sexualized that young.
Right.
right, you shouldn't even have an opportunity to decide whether or not you like something like that or not.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
There,
exactly.
there should
Exactly.
never be a position that you're put in where you have to make that choice. You
Right.
know, it's
Yeah.
like, but it's just, it's for me, it was like, it made everything make sense. It made all those years of addiction. So it was like, oh, it wasn't just me getting into a snowboarding accident, getting some pills, and then liking them because I did. I liked
Hmm.
them. I liked how they made me feel. My whole body. It made me feel like, just it was like euphoric. You felt lighter. You
No,
know. Um,
I mean, I mean, yeah. Anyone that's ever that anyone that says that they've done, like some opiates or just and they didn't like it is lying.
Yeah. And the reason that we like it, or we all have our reasons, right? Where, like, for me, I was trying to suppress this deep pain that I had deep in my subconscious that I wasn't even aware of.
Right.
Also, there were other contributing factors, like I was working a corporate finance job, something I wanted nothing to do with. I wanted to be a pro golfer ever since I was a young kid. I wanted to be on TV. I wanted to, I was once again tricked. I wanted to be famous or whatever. I wanted to be one of the best golfers in the world.
Hmm.
I
All
did
this,
too, man, with music.
you
That's
know,
what I was.
I
I always thought I was going to be a pitcher in the MLB when I was growing up. That was
I
my
yeah,
thought I was
dude.
goal.
gonna be a rock star like Robert Plant, Led Zeppelin. So
Yeah.
It's like these fucked up things that, like, we it's good to strive for things, but it's like,
Right.
at the same time, why am
Got to
I going to
be
let my life be defined one way or the other by
right.
whether or not I achieve this thing?
Hmm.
Is it good to stay focused on something? Sure, but at what price? At what cost? I sacrificed so many things for my golf when I was a young kid. I thought that's what I was going to do, and I met I met a girl that changed everything. Like, I was like, and women just like have always been a problem in my life until I met my last girlfriend in July of last year. She's the woman that I will marry. Like, I want a family with this girl, but it's like I had some roller coaster rides of relationships. I can never trust anybody. Go figure, right? Like, obviously have some deep seated issues with trust. And it's no wonder why I don't trust authority and won't obey them. It's like,
Hmm.
yeah,
because I've never trusted anyone in my life. Number
Right.
one.
yeah,
And number two, trust is earned, man. Trust is
Absolutely.
yeah.
earned. You have to show me that you
Right.
that you're being honest, and I'm gonna put you to the test, and I'm gonna challenge it.
Hmm.
But until you have shown yourself to be an honest actor and not someone who just lies and lies and lies, like I did,
Hmm.
like we all have,
Yeah.
all of us, anyone who's experienced and used drugs, to the only thing we ever do or say is for what, that one
Right.
thing, and it's
And you
Nah,
don't
man,
nothing else
you don't
matters.
yeah, you don't care what you
nah,
have to
man,
do or say to get it.
Nothing else
Yeah.
matters. So
nah, man.
people like
Andy,
us know when we're being lied to and manipulated, especially because
Yeah.
we've
Andy,
lived in the darkness, we've
Hmm.
lived in the
Andy,
pits. you
Mason.
know
I don't know about you two, but I walk on water. Occasionally, I just get my toes wet from that.
Yeah, that's right, buddy. That's right, man. It's, hey, this shit is, it's fucked up. Life is
Hey,
crazy.
Andy, I tell you, man, you come down south, man, or if I come back up to Connecticut, I will definitely make a point to come to Massachusetts to see you.
Well, I'm actually trying to move to North Carolina soon.
I will
My
bring my
girl's down
fucking
there.
clubs, dude, and we can play it for $1 a hole, man. I'm not so bad at golf myself, you know.
Yeah, you've been.
I fancy myself a all right golf player too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Shit. What are we talking for handicaps here, boys?
Shit. As long as I can just move the ball where I want to, we just gonna play. Don't play with it. Guys. I'm good to go.
Oh, you don't even have a handicap, man? What are you
It's in
trying
the
to
shit.
you
Let
trying
me
to hustle
just
me?
let me just kick it over here back into the fairway. All right, let's
Trying to
go. As
hustle me,
long as we
boy?
got that rule down, I'm good to go. As
Yeah,
Mason,
long
me
as
what do
I
you
can
too.
drop a
Me, me,
ball
me,
and
me,
not
me
take a
too.
stroke, I'm
what do you
good.
what do you shoot, Mason?
Oh, I mean, I'm not really that good. I'm just,
That's all right.
I,
Most people
I,
suck at golf,
I
so
played my whole
was,
life, but I suck.
I was bullshitting. Yeah, I'm
most people
not,
suck at golf.
I'm not, I can't,
It's hard.
I cannot drive worth a fuck. I cannot drive a ball straight to save my life. I fucking slice it every fucking time.
It's hard, but I could make you guys better golfers. I'll tell you that.
Hey man, I've played my whole life.
My
but I
short
still
game is
suck.
actually pretty good. I'm actually not too bad putting and like chipping. Like with an iron, I can shoot a nice shot with an iron, but
Yeah.
like I just cannot hit a good shot with a driver to save my life.
Well, they say
I'm the
drive. They
total
say
opposite.
drive for show, putt for dough. Drive for
True,
show, putt for
true,
dough.
true.
I'm the
So,
total opposite. I'm the total opposite. I can just drive it.
and you can't putt for
I've ever
shit.
hit is
And you can't
about
putt for shit.
like 270, 280 yards is probably the longest drive I ever done. And maybe I just got lucky that day. And straight. But when it comes to short game and putting, I'm just like, it's like
Maybe we can
over the green,
combine.
back over the green, no
Maybe
green again, back
well,
over the green.
Ronnie, maybe if we combine your long game with my short game, we can beat Andy.
Yeah.
I do play like so when I play my friends like around here. So a lot of times it'll be 2 or 3 on one. Like
Yeah.
I've only played twice this year, so honestly I can't break 84, 83.
Yeah.
But normally if I was
Jesus.
like when I played last year, I was shooting like low 70s, 69. I break par and stuff like that. So
What the
I can be a
fuck?
good I can be
That's
good.
really good.
But I'm just so inconsistent. I could go
Yeah.
shoot 68 and then I could go shoot 85 the next day because I'm just like that.
85 is bad. I'm like
I don't-
120 at best.
But I grew up. I grew up playing it. That's all I ever did.
I think that I think I've shot under par like maybe once or twice in my whole life from playing
Oh,
golf.
you're both
That's
better
all
than
right,
me
dude.
then. I think the
That's
best
like-
score I've ever
man.
had is like 101.
and then
That's not very good.
and those are on
Not very
like
good.
those are on like really short holes too, where like it's like
That's not
I'm hitting
very
I'm driving with an iron and I get it on the green off the drive, and then I get like a lucky putt where I
It's
get
the
it in.
toughest game in the world, man. It really is.
And-
And the ball
And,
doesn't
have
even
you
move.
have you ever
The ball
seen
doesn't even move.
have you ever seen Robin Williams sketch talking about how
yeah.
the Scots came up
Yeah,
with
when he
golf?
created golf.
It's
Yeah.
fucking
18 fucking
hilarious.
times.
He's like, he's like,
18 fucking times.
like only a country of drunks could come up with a fucking game like this.
It's so funny because you
Yeah.
guys would see me drive. You'd be like, damn, that's a fuck, dude. Look at that wing Ronnie's got. I mean, god damn, motherfucker can hit the ball.
And then you can't get it in the hole.
18. It's like, what's your score? I'm like, 127. They're like, what the
Yeah.
happened? Every drive was phenomenal, man. I don't know. I
It's
got it there with the iron, and sometimes I hit the top of the ball and it went 2 feet.
it's a
Sometimes
it's a
I
hard
hit
game.
way,
man.
way under the ball and it went fucking behind me. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And dude, driving. I've had so many people help me too, like all the time. Like if I go to a driving range, like some old guys will come over and try and like help me out and like like give me one of their clubs, or like your club's too short or something, and try this grip instead, or
Yeah.
like they're just like trying to help me out, and just for the like they're and poor guys, they try so hard, but I just can't hit a ball straight.
Yeah.
And you
well,
can still
it's hard,
score
man.
better than me,
Well,
though.
and
It's hard.
I think part of it too is because I grew up playing baseball, so like I'm thinking of every time I'm hitting driving, I'm like swinging the club like I'm swinging a baseball bat. So because it's not the same as the way you swing a baseball bat and hit a baseball.
No, not even
So
close.
I'm like, yeah. So they're always saying that like I don't know, like fucking like I'm like turning too soon or something. Like I'm turning my body too much, and that's why I'm slicing it because I don't know. But I've had so many people try to help me, and I just can't get it to where I hit the ball straight.
It's hard though. I mean, you have to put in a lot of time,
Yeah.
And it's like
Yeah.
when somebody gives you a tip, it's like they might know what they're talking about, but at the same time, if you don't take that tip and then practice it for weeks, months, or whatever, it's like you're not gonna really gain a benefit from it right then and there. It's like you expect to hear a tip and then you try and do it and you're like, oh, it's not working. Well, you're not gonna really see it work until you put so much muscle memory.
I forget.
Hey, I will say on when I was a kid, we went to Hawaii when I was 5 or 6 years old. It was like an attempt that my dad made to save the marriage with my mom, like this trip, because my mom's brother lived in Hawaii and we went out there and whatever. But anyway, we went and played 18 holes, and the only hole in one I've ever gotten was when I was 5, 6 years old, and it was on this Hawaii golf course, I think it was called. I still have the plastic thing from the course, but it was a par 3, and granted, I was only 6 years old, and I used a driver, but I hit the ball, and it hit it was like a line drive straight. It wasn't very high, just like kind of like a line drive shot, hit the post of the fucking stick, and then just landed in the hole.
You got a hole in one?
I was like, ah!
Wow.
It was the only hole in one I've ever gotten in my life.
Wow. That's
amazing.
Pretty crazy. How old were you?
Like 5 or 6.
Wow.
That's what
crazy.
I mean. It's like
That's
I'm
crazy.
the total opposite of Mason. It's like when it comes to driving, I'm great at driving. It's just everything else I suck at.
Half my drives end up on a fucking another hole. Like
what's crazy, Mason,
and the fairway of another hole
is Mason. You suck at driving, but yet you could still probably beat me.
I mean, I have a really good short game. Like not even just putting. Like if I'm, like I've chipped in like off the green like so many shots. It's crazy. Like
you said you shot under par, so
I don't know why or how, but like I'm just like really I guess I just have like a lot of finesse, I guess, or something. I can just I'm just
that's
like
good. You got good hands.
That's my thing.
Even like my dad and like my grandpa, I'll play with them, and they're always like, "How the fuck are you shooting nice ass shots?"
That's me. It's like I'm great at crushing it, and then when it comes to judging distance and what club I need and all that for the short, it's like that's where I'm like,
I can't do. I can't.
7 iron's good, and then I hit a full swing with a 7 iron, and it goes 50 yards past the green next fucking tee. I'm like, the fuck.
I cannot drive far either. Like I can I don't even think I've ever drove 200 yards. Like I can barely make it over 150 half the time. I cannot. I just don't have a powerful drive at all.
Yeah,
we got to work on that, man.
It's weak. It's weak as fuck, and it's always sliced every time.
Before we got rid of our TV in 2017 when we deleted Facebook and all that shit. But before I got rid of TV, there was some show that I used to watch that was like, or maybe it was a competition. It wasn't like any pro golfers were in it. These guys were like muscle men, like jacked as they were
bodybuilders.
Like bodybuilders.
Yeah, the long distance drives. Yeah,
they would drive like
400 yards.
I'm like, what? Fuck?
Those guys are crazy.
That is insane, dude. And the whole competition was just to see who could drive the furthest.
Yeah, that shit blows my mind if I watch like pro golf and like because they'll just easily like hit a drive 300 plus yards. I'm like, how the fuck like dudes that aren't even that big either. It's like
I hit it about 300.
That's like that's
I'm
just
only 5'8", 5'7"
that's crazy to
actually.
me.
5'7" on a good day.
Hey,
I'm
I'm
just
5'6".
I'm
Are you?
tall and lanky. I'm 6'3". I'm
Oh shit!
fucking
You're
Really?
6'3".
yeah.
Damn, you're
Holy
towering
Yeah,
over us.
shit.
yeah,
Towers over
I'm
us.
tall as
I'm a
fuck.
fucking midget compared to you.
But I've always been tall and scrawny as fuck
I'm
though.
not very. I'm not very tall. 5'7" on
Yeah,
a good day, man.
dude, but 5'7",
But I hit
5
it about 300.
so much.
Yeah, dude, you like double my distance. I can't.
I hit it pretty far. I use my lower body. I'm kind of stocky, so
See,
like
I
I
think that's
use
my
my
problem is
use my lower body really well.
I'm like all arms. It's probably my problem is I'm not using enough of my lower
Dude,
body.
Mason, it doesn't even matter, dude. You're 6'3". You're probably 9-inch cock. So yeah, that's all that matters, man.
I don't have to be good at anything else as long as
Exactly.
if you got a
Yeah.
big dick, you're set. Doesn't matter.
In this fucked up world, that seems to be the case. You know, it's like Jesus. So everybody's just like thinking with their dicks. Like,
Shit.
Oh, dude.
I wish it was that easy. I wish I could just plop my dick out and then have things handed to me.
yeah, right. The fuck.
Oh, I know the Black Lives
But
Matter.
where's my big dick privilege?
The big dick privilege and the white privilege. It's like
Yeah, you're really in trouble.
I come at the Black Lives Matter social justice warriors. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember, in 2014, I went into Williamson County and the courthouse there, and I walked in and the judge said, "Oh, Mr. Ross, you're white. I'm so sorry for bothering you today. You go on, have a good old time. We got a bunch of black people we're gonna arrest today. You're white. This doesn't apply to you because you're white. So see you later. Goodbye."
Hey, you know what? You can have your weed back too. Here you go. Like,
Oh yeah, here's
grab your weed on the
your
way.
pipe. It's just like a white privilege. Get the fuck
You forgot
outta here.
your pound of cocaine.
Yeah, dude, that shit's always pissed me off.
I'm not gonna feel
because
bad for being white.
Never.
So many, and I mean, I went to a lot of people that I grew up with and went to school with going to like private schools. Like there's like the shit that I see on Facebook from like these fucking like wealthy, guilty white people is just so cringy.
Yeah.
Like they're all Black Lives Matter. Oh, unfriend me if you don't support Black Lives. If you don't say Black Lives Matter, or have Black Lives Matter in your profile, then just unfriend me or I'm removing you.
I saw a fish post on Instagram yesterday that said it was a guy that was making masks, and the mask said fuck, I can't, please wear a mask for something, I don't know, but that was disgusting, whatever it said. But there was a comment by a girl underneath it that said, "Do what they say so we can get what we want." And I was like, oh, okay, so it's all about you. It's all about your narcissistic wants and needs. I see. Satan.
Yeah.
You're a Satanist. Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I mean
that's what it's all about.
That's
you.
Yeah, dude, and social media just fucking feeds that satanic me mindset so much too. It's all about look at me. That's like pretty much all that it is. And that's why people do all the fucking like the fucking Blackout Tuesday shit. It's all about look at me.
I'm not racist.
I'm not racist. Look at me. I posted a black picture on my fucking Facebook wall. Like it's all a bunch of fucking virtue signaling bullshit, or people are trying to act like they're a good person because they took 3 seconds to fucking post some shit on Facebook and Instagram.
How are you guys not just infuriated by the left taking over the phrase or the word woke? Because I'm like, no.
Yes, dude, I hate that.
People who know about 9/11 and people who know who Mark Passio is and know 9/11 truth, those are the woke people. And we've been calling ourselves woke since 2001.
Oh no,
we are woke. You are not woke.
I fucking hate how that's become like a joke almost now. Like oh, you're some woke leftist. Some woke leftist libtard shit, yeah.
You guys,
disgusting.
Have you guys seen this media bear?
Yes. Oh my
Yo, have you
God.
guys? This is,
I literally just
bro.
was found out about this channel yesterday and watched
Bro,
this.
I
It's
put him in
fucking
all my I
amazing.
put him in all my videos.
It's so fucking
This song,
funny.
this one's great, dude. This one's amazing.
I have not seen that.
It's really fucking funny.
Oh, is it? We will mock you.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh my god. The clown shoes. It's like, man, these people must watch Mark Passio to have clown.
Right.
Dude,
Look,
this song.
Bobos, Bobo the clown.
Oh man, don't y'all love how what's her name? Lynx. She changed her name on the last podcast just temporarily on the Discord to Bobolina. And Mark.
Was that her?
Yeah, that was her. I could tell by her. Yeah.
That's awesome. I didn't realize that was her.
I was like, that's Lynx. Holy shit.
That's dope.
Wait, what did she do? She changed her
changed
name?
her name to Bobolina.
And she called into Mark's show as Bobolina.
Bobolina.
And there was somebody else who was Bobo the clown.
Oh, god damn, dude. That shit is so fucking god.
Bro, this
like,
guy this guy is this
like
guy's,
fuck yeah, Mark. Fuck yeah, dude. He's like, I will burn this shit to the fucking ground. Fuck. I was like, yes, dude, please do. Yeah, I'm all about it.
Oh, look at this. Another one. Corona World video game lets you kill the COVIDiots. So they made this video game. They made this video game where they
shit, James Corbett.
Where they can kill people who don't wear masks and don't take vaccines and shit.
Dude, James
wow.
is the man.
Dude, he does this propaganda watch show, man. It's like,
I love James Corbett. He's awesome.
Yeah, he's so great.
He was definitely
Luke Radowski from We Are Change and Sam Tripoli and his podcast, Tinfoil Hat, is amazing.
Yes.
Do you guys, a really good breakdown of the news is the No Agenda podcast.
No Agenda? Who's that?
I've never heard of that one.
I'm telling you, listen to No Agenda. You guys will fucking now. Granted, they are not as awake as we are by any means. They're not, and you'll think by listening to it that they support Trump. They don't at all. They don't support Trump at all. They're just mocking or making fun of and pointing out the ridiculousness of how the media is so ridiculous towards Trump. Like during the Obama years, you would have thought they were pro-Obama because they just pointed out how ridiculous the right wing towards Obama. You know,
yeah. They just point out the bullshit.
Like their breakdown of the news is phenomenal, and they are totally woke on coronavirus. No Agenda podcast has become my favorite podcast. Although a lot of times I don't agree with them. I don't, but their breakdown of the news, of the mainstream news, is the best I have ever seen.
No, I feel you. There's some people that I watch and listen to who definitely haven't gone all the way, but I think it's still good to support, like people who are at least, on their way and, have some of the picture.
Yeah.
Because people like that are, they can still, set people, on the journey towards truth and, really understand what's going on.
Well, and No Agenda is cool because, they have they call it the value for value model. So there's no ads on their podcast. It's all viewer paid for. People donate. So they do like an hour of news, then they take a break, and then they, all the people that donated are considered executive producers and associative executive producers. And they, the people write in, they say their name, they read in the note and how much they donated. And then they have No Agenda meetups, which is a great way to meet like-minded people. You can even start your own meetup. They have the No Agenda social network. So it's like a Facebook, but for No Agenda people that you can join. I mean, honestly, what No Agenda's done is fucking amazing. And the jokes, the inside, it might take 2 or 3 episodes for you guys to start understanding the inside jokes, but I promise you it is so well worth your time because the shit is so funny. Like all the clips that they take, like when Trump said, we were trying to get it aroused. We couldn't get it aroused. We wanted to get it aroused. We tried to get it aroused. We got it aroused. It's now aroused. Like they clip that, you know. Joe Biden said at one point, he said, "What? I'm gonna give you the whole load today." They clip that, right? You know, and people ask, you know, people ask for jingles, and they have like, you know, it's all made by the fans. It's all producer funded. So the fans have like this song that's like, if you're white, you're a racist. If you're straight, you're a homophobe. Like all this funny. It's so funny, man. They just destroy the mainstream media. And what's cool about it is even as awake as we are, if the 3 of us were to go watch Fox News, CNN, or MSNBC, there's a good chance that there's a lot of things we wouldn't pick up on just because our minds aren't trained to see it.
Right.
So when you do is when the mainstream media will say something, they ring a bell. Like they go ding, ding, ding. Like they have like a, you know, a bell like that someone put it at a clerk at a store. And from listening to this podcast for the last 7, 8, 9 months, it's made it to where when I go to my parents' house and I watch the news, now I pick up on it without the bell.
Yeah.
To just instantly see it. I'm like, holy shit, there it is. And then I pause that. Let me tell you guys what's actually going on. My parents are like, oh, holy shit. Oh my God. I never noticed that. And I'm like,
wow.
Yeah. Like it's fucking mind control. You know,
like the Hoffman glasses and They
No
Live.
Agenda podcast.
That movie is amazing. They Live.
I love that movie so much.
The Hoffman glasses.
Yeah.
It's like,
oh yeah,
dude. That speech, I did a video about that speech at the end of the movie where he goes into the underground layer. He has like a special watch and it brings him into the underground layer where all these super elites are, and they're like, the politician at the end, he goes, by the year 2025, not only America, but the entire planet will be under the protection and the dominion of this power elite. So in 1988, they're saying by the year 2025, not only America, but the entire planet. And then I show a video of the UN's New World Order Behind Closed Doors song. You seen that?
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Oh my God, that just came out the other day. No Agenda.
Yeah, I just did a
podcast.
I've just did a video on this.
Yeah, No Agenda. Yeah, they pointed it out, and he paused it. He's like, "Did you hear that? New World Order? Like, it's so obvious. What's going on?" I was like, "Yeah, fucking A, it is, man." And it's cool, man. If you donate to No Agenda, I still haven't donated, but if you donate, you can ask for a de-douching, and it's like, you've been de-douched. And then you have a friend that, see, what they call it, one of the inside jokes of No Agenda is if you introduce No Agenda to someone you know, it's called hitting them in the mouth. Because if you guys have ever been to a football game, this has been, I can't remember the movie that it's from, but it's from a movie. But I've been to several football games all over the country that have used this clip. And the clip is a famous black actor going, we go out, we hit people in the mouth. It's like from a football movie from I can't remember what movie that's from, but they clip that. And that's what it's called when you show someone No Agenda, it's called hitting them in the mouth. Well, what people will do when they write in is like, say I tell you guys about it, right? So I've hit you in the mouth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's say they do a podcast every Thursday and every Sunday. So let's say I were to write in tonight and I would say, Andy Gerard and Mason Gleason. I hit Andy Gerard and Mason
Gerard.
I want you to call them out, Gerard. I want you to call them out for being douchebags. So a douchebag
I can be.
is someone who hasn't donated to the show. So if I call you guys out as a douchebag, they'll play they have a clip that's like douchebag, douchebag, and then I just donated for the first time, so I want a de-douching, and it's like you've been de-douched. It's so great. Like
I'll
the
give
show,
him five. I'll give him $5 to de-douche me.
I'm telling you guys, the fucking No Agenda podcast is my favorite one out of all of
I'll
them.
check it out.
I'll definitely check that out.
Check out.
Even though they're not as awake as they could be, like they're almost there, but they're not all.
So how about this? We'll finish on this. All right, we're gonna just watch this like 2 minute, like a minute or two of this song, and then we'll just take your final thoughts on this song, and then we'll wrap it up. How's that?
All right.
Sounds good.
All right. Can you see this?
Yeah.
A new world order behind closed doors. Look at this. Using kids.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah.
Oh, I've heard the song. I've heard the song.
Have you seen this, Mason?
I don't think so, actually.
This is a real song from the UN. New World Order behind closed doors from the UN. Look at this. This shit really freaks me out right here.
What the fuck? Try and take the guns in America, see what happens. Mark Passio is right, especially people in the South. I mean, granted, people in the South that are carrying guns are still wearing masks, but you try and take the guns.
No,
will be all out
things will not end well if you try to take the guns. Yeah, I'm very big on gun ownership. I was raised with guns and around guns, so.
Yeah, me too, man.
Yeah,
New World Order. There it is.
See?
I've got my AK in the corner right there.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. That's awesome.
Fuck yeah. A great fucking gun. I've shot an AK before. It's fucking fun. Hey, you come to South Mason, I'll teach you how to turn that thing into fully auto.
I have no weapons.
Oh yeah, I would love that.
I have no weapons. What do I do?
Get one, man.
I know, but I'm like trying to move to North Carolina and like.
Hey.
Well, hell, North Carolina will be easy as hell. North Carolina.
I know, but I'm trying to do it.
Me.
I'm trying to get one now, man.
Hey, I'm a felon. I'm a felon, and I have an AR-15. So.
In Tennessee.
I'm trying to get an AR too at some point.
Guns are very easy to acquire.
Wait, what do you have in the corner there, Mason?
Armslist.com.
It's a AK-47.
Oh, okay. Shit.
Check out
Armslist.com.
Yeah, Armslist.com is like the Craigslist of guns. Like people just sell guns. You don't ask for paperwork. You can just buy guns. It's fucking awesome. I've done it.
I fuck with that.
Armslist.com is the
so I don't have to call the police department?
No.
You know, you don't have to get a background check or any of that bullshit.
You don't have to get a background check, nothing. I mean, granted, the seller, could be like a goody two-shoes and want you to show paperwork, but in my experience, they've never asked me, so.
All right, we'll have to talk a little more offline about that one. All right, boys. Yeah, so what do you think about that video from the UN, man?
Yeah, I hadn't seen the video, but I had heard the song, and it's fucking unbelievable. It's so obvious. Like people, like
I play it in almost every one of my videos now. I said this is what it's all about. I said they're literally doing this, and they're telling you they're doing it. So, it's so hard to get through to these fucking people, man. I mean, space helmets, bro. We started with space helmets, remember?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Like, and they're sold out. They're fucking sold out.
$250. Like, I can't imagine someone actually spending $250 on one of those dumbass
to look
things.
like a complete fucking
idiot. It would make sense if you're going to like an EDM festival. I get it. You're trying to be weird, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. That's the only time.
But for real life, it's just like what Mark said, man. They're just exploiting people's fear of death, which which actually is the fear of the unknown. You know?
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's
Never,
like,
ever. This is what you should always tell people if you guys get in an argument. This is a good thing that I've broken it down to is never, ever trade freedom for safety. Ever.
yep,
Never, ever.
I know.
If you're not free, then what's the point in living? Because then you're a slave and you can't live. It's that simple. That fucking simple.
Great way to end.
Yeah, it's here it is. Yeah, it's a Ben Franklin quote. He says, "Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety."
Deserve neither. That's right.
Exactly.
It's a good one to end on, boys. It's been fun. Well,
Fuck yeah. Well, Andy, thanks for putting this thing together, man.
yeah, man.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun.
I had fun. Maybe we'll get it a little more structured and fucking talk about some stories and
Sure,
maybe about
definitely.
shit we can do. But it's good to get to know each other.
Yeah, definitely.
We've definitely
Fuck
been
yeah.
through similar experiences.
Yeah.
I think the next time we get on, I want to talk about just like my bout like with suicide and shit, because I want to like blend it into like where we are now, and we'll pick up on it next time though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Good
definitely I wanna get some shit slapping like this myself, like start a podcast or something. I've actually been working on like making like some presentations and stuff to do. Like about natural law and morality and stuff. But I'd like to do like a weekly podcast or something.
I gotta get more formalized because I'm just kind of like
Yeah.
right now I'm just like doing my own thing. I'm like having
Yeah.
fun with it. I'm like it's not super
Because
formal.
I love shit like this, just like chilling with some guys and just talking for like hours. It's really fun.
Yeah, we spent 3.5
yeah.
hours and it doesn't really seem like it has.
Yeah,
so.
It doesn't seem like it's been that long.
Time flies by.
Yeah, man. Well, dude, yeah, Andy, I'm down, and especially, I mean, we can get really into the suicide thing because I tried to kill myself, and I tried to hang myself, and the fucking thing broke. So, you know.
Yeah, dude. So
I've been there.
I think the
been
fact
that
that's crazy. I'm so happy that you got through that, bro. Let me
Yeah.
just say that much. All right. I appreciate fucking
Yeah.
all the like how strong you are to get to where you are now because I know what it's like to I never even got to that point, but I'm just saying having those doubts is the worst thing ever. Just having them.
It's
you know, and the fact that we've gotten through it, I think we can actually build on something and actually show people there's a different way.
Absolutely.
You know?
That's definitely being that low. It's really hard to dig yourself out of that. It's not an easy thing to do.
And I think it's amazing that
it takes a lot of willpower.
100%. But I think that there's three guys that barely know each other. We just came on and we were all incredibly honest with each other. We barely know each other. Let's just be real, right?
Yeah.
But three people, open-minded. We just kind of went with it, you know. We just talked. It's just like just three people talking and three people who are being honest, you know, about some shit we've been through. So, you know, if you appreciate shit like this, like there's going to be a lot more of it because I'd like to continue talking to you guys. Maybe one-on-one, we do some more shit. Maybe we get some other people on and, you know, have some more perspectives. And just because I really want to talk solutions, everybody knows that there's problems and we're up against it.
Yeah.
We need to focus a little bit more on, okay, these are the problems. This is happening, but what do we do to combat against it? And it's like,
I agree 100%. Yeah.
I think we get too lost sometimes and that's where the Twin Towers came down by, you know, fucking direct energy weapons or no, it came down by direct, controlled demolition. And then they're just fighting amongst themselves when they know there's a problem. It's like, save that energy, direct it like where it needs to go, redirect it that way.
I mean, we could talk, I mean, endlessly about what all the problems are. I mean, because there's so many, but it's unless we talk about and start taking action on solutions, then it doesn't matter, you know, how much we talk about the problems. They're not changing. It's all staying that way and getting worse. In fact, if we just sit on our asses talking about the problems and don't actually figure out solutions and put them into action.
It's that thing we ask ourselves every time when you're people like us, right? You're out walking or hiking or just doing anything. You're like, what do we do? What is it? You know,
Mhm.
it's just gnawing at you. It's like,
And
even if I'm late to the party, you know, like late to this whole waking up thing, like I know I need to do more. I even carry like some guilt and shit for it because I'm
yeah,
like, I find myself being lazy, and then I'm like, I'm feeling
hmm
sad, or I'm like
yeah,
depressed a little because this whole thing is so fucked up. And it's like, I'm
yeah,
just coming out of a bad place and a dark place. I'm like
yeah,
wanting to live my life, wanting to be with my girlfriend, start a family, help people heal from addiction and suicide and all these things. And they're telling me like, I can't even fucking hike the Appalachian Trail to raise money for addiction and suicide
right.
because the Appalachian Trail's closed. What? And
And
there's
what,
and
like
there's
what
millions of
you're closing nature? Like what the fuck? Like you can't close nature. Like
what the
fuck you.
fuck,
Like
dude?
I want to go
What,
out and fucking walk on a goddamn trail. Like fuck you. Like that's
Well,
they
and
close the bathrooms, they close
thing.
the shelters, like, and it's
well,
like you could be out in the streets for Black Lives Matter, but I can't hike a fucking mountain
Right.
by
Like
myself.
by myself. Yeah, yeah.
Myself.
Nobody else around. Like that's the ultimate social distancing right there. Out in the fucking mountains by myself.
Dude, what the fuck, man? Right there. If you can't see through that hypocrisy right there. Like I wanna hike a trail in the woods alone by myself to raise money for people like us, or people that are well worse off than us even.
Hmm.
People who are drug addicts, people who are suicidal, people who battling depression, any other mental health issues. Like I want to raise money for child abuse and fucking what's going on with children. Why
Hmm.
can't I do that? But you can fucking get out by the thousands for Black Lives Matter because it
And
suits
just and
their fucking agenda.
fucking destroy property and burn cities to the ground.
I,
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I
But
mean,
then I have people in my life telling me, you control your destiny. It's your life. I'm like, yeah, do I though? I can't even go and hike a fucking mountain right now because some bureaucrats and some fucking bought and paid for public health officials tell me I can't.
Yeah.
well, let me
And you
fuck,
don't see how ridiculous that is?
Yeah.
let me let me leave you guys with some fucking comedy, man.
Yeah, buddy.
If anybody ever wants to make fun of you, especially down south, this is something you come across all the time. People love throwing around the word faggot. They love calling people faggots. You just say, "Oh man, you know what? I've sucked so many black fucking dicks in my life. Just ah 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 just fucking gagging on this shit." And then you don't even have to go anywhere else after that. What in the fuck? Just anytime anyone tries to belittle you or make fun of you, just take it to the extreme. Like don't even try to rationalize with them.
Oh
Just
yeah.
times more irrational.
Yeah.
Even with the Black Lives Matter people, even with the social justice warriors, if you go twice as irrational, because rationalism, like you've already lost that battle. There is no
Right.
rational.
Yeah.
So
You're not gonna reason with someone
the
like
only way
that.
to defend yourself is to just be 10 times more irrational, and you'll pretty much shut them down every time.
Yeah.
It works every time.
Yeah.
It's never failed me.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's one I love because I'm in the South and people throw around the word faggot all the time, and it's just
And
like,
a lot of homophobia.
oh, Bill.
Oh, yeah.
It's like someone drives down the street in a fucking Civic with a loud exhaust to go, Billy Badass, badass over there.
Yeah, dude, there's some interesting people.
Or I'll give you a better
around
one.
us,
I told
man.
Andy about this before you came on, Mason, about me and my friends used to love WWF and Stone Cold at Steve Austin. And then when we hit puberty, we started to talk like him as often as we could. So if you're ever walking on the beach and you're behind a guy and a girl holding hands, try and do the Stone Cold Steve Austin voice and say, "Get your hands off my daughter."
I just watched a documentary with Stone Cold in it last night. Hey.
Yeah, I love WWF, WWE. I was a big fan of that.
Another beer. What? Margarita. What?
Oh man,
Not a whiskey.
You
What?
guys like that shit
Another
too?
beer. What?
Oh.
What? All right, well, I gotta go to bed.
All right, brother.
All right,
Well,
guys.
let's call it.
All right.
Till next time.
Yeah, definitely.
Been
Just
fun.
hit me up. Let me know whenever you want to get something going.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh
I
yeah,
will.
All
guys.
right. All
Night.
right.
All right.
Night,
Peace.
Andy, Ronnie. It's great talking to you guys.
Yeah,
Have
you
a good
too,
night.
guys.
Hey,
Sleep
you
well.
too.
Yeah, later.
Peace.
Peace.